Episode 10? Is that what we're counting on?
Episode 10.
Double digits.
Double digits
How about
we've
that?
hit on the podcast. Sorry for being a few minutes late here tonight. We had a little bit of technical difficulties as usual. But we're live. We're here. We made it.
In the flesh.
We have Mark Houston in the house again tonight. We have Nick back
great
in
to be
town.
here.
So we've got everybody here, minus my producer, once he finally can come in home and be the moderator for this. So that'll be exciting. So, yeah, and we got a different camera angle. So hope everybody can see and chime in. We got some really cool things to talk about tonight as far as just general sports stuff later. We've got some pretty cool stuff to talk about as far as shout-outs, local business shout-outs as well, too. And I think we want to all start off by saying Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and grandmothers.
Happy Mother's
that are out there,
Day.
for sure.
Happy Mother's Day, mothers.
Shout out to my wife's first
There you go.
Mother's Day.
There you
Yes,
go.
so
Congratulations
very
to
cool.
her. It's been a very special first Mother's Day for a lot of people out there as well. I got a couple of friends that had babies this year as well. So that's Happy Mother's Day. to
Probably
them
be
as well.
even more of them.
Absolutely.
A lot. Quarantine
There's going to
babies
be a lot
are
of
coming.
quarantine baby.
The coronials are
got
coming.
nothing to do with the coronials.
A lot of free time. Why not?
Is that what they're going to
just
be
do
called?
it?
I think you got to imagine it's going to be the generation of the coronials.
The coronials? I like
We're
it.
the
I mean,
millennials,
hey,
they're the
with their
coronials.
millennials,
Millennials,
there's
coronials.
coronials. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
shout
get
out
to
to all the moms. Not we love you.
The moms,
we
the
wouldn't
grandmas.
be
Love you,
here
moms.
if it wasn't for you. None of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Think
I mean,
about
we,
that.
we know it was yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
We're just saying it needs to be said again. It can't be said enough.
We love you all.
We love you. Thank you, especially to you. Thank you, Mom. I love you for everything that you've done for me.
Thank you, Mom, and my beautiful girlfriend who's a mom.
There you go.
I love
There you go.
I love you both.
I'm going to start off with the shout outs for episode 10 for a friend of mine, Lindsay Favaza. Their family, Favaza's restaurant, has been delivering food to the front lines, the firehouses, police stations, the hospitals. And they've been taking definitely their part in helping out where they can. So definitely shout out to Favaza's restaurant. I didn't get a chance to talk about you guys last show, but lots of great things that you guys are doing for them for sure. Also a great story. If you guys haven't, go to Favaza's Facebook page. They have a really awesome story on there. I hope I'm not butchering his name. A little boy named Austin Naki. He basically had saved up some money to go to an event. The event got canceled due to Corona, so he decided that he wanted to put his money towards giving back, and he ended up buying Favaza's meals for whoever was needed at that point, or whoever needed them at that point. So awesome thing. I think his parents spotted in for that as well too. I think they spent over $250 some odd just for
Awesome.
free
Very
food
cool.
to give out to the needy.
Very cool.
Very cool
Love
story.
it. Love it.
More details on their Facebook page if you guys can go take a look at it. That's at Favaza's restaurant. Great food.
Great
Love
place.
It.
Very
Great friend
good.
of mine.
Yep.
So we're gonna talk about some beer here too.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of good feedback off of the last one that we did with
last
that.
one?
What are you drinking over there, Mark?
I am.
Beer
I actually
shout-out.
went to Tap House, which is right by Christopher there, and got a growler fill there. Actually, having a little food truck thing tonight, so that was pretty cool to kind of watch. But I got a beer here. It's actually from Perennial. They usually have about 50 beers on tap at Tap House. I think they have about 15 because of everything going on. Don't need all those beers, but
Yeah.
this
we're
is a
stuck
beer
with it
from Perennial called Prodigal. It's a Imperial Oatmeal Milk Stout. 11.5. The motor oil I'm drinking right there.
That is a
No
thick-
lights coming through that.
that is
It
a
packs a
thick
mighty
stout.
punch, but it's pretty good. So if you ever need to run down there, get a growler fill, they're still doing them. They're getting more beers in. And, of course, if you go to Perennial, it's the old Coca-Cola factory, you can stop by there, and they have this on tap. And
beautiful
they've got a
place.
lot of good beers there. So
Hell yeah.
check out Perennial if you get a chance.
So you bought that growler from the place too?
I bought it from there, and then
today.
I bought
This all
it today.
happened in one purchase.
Yeah, this
Growler
happened.
and beer.
This happened about a half hour ago. So, just made a thing of it.
Keep
So,
filling them up.
yep.
Yeah, what were you drinking last?
Absolute-
What were you drinking last show?
I was drinking the Beauty by Center Ice Brewery,
That's right.
which is very cool.
Have you had that?
Oh,
Nick?
Center Ice. I heard you
Center-
talking about all the
Yeah.
hockey named beers.
Oh, you gotta get. It's so cool. All the tap
I've
handles.
never heard of it. So you
Tap
told me
handles are
about
hockey sticks,
it. Oh,
and
dude,
it's
that's my
very
kind of
neat.
joint.
And the first time I went there, they were actually closed, and we were kind of bummed out because we went to Pappy's. This is a good story, actually. We were at Pappy's. I had my Ty Domi jersey on. Okay, I don't know why.
Which was on my top 5
The
list
man
of
of many jerseys.
all-time enforcers.
Right, the man
just
of
so
many
everyone knows.
jerseys.
Check that episode out.
Not really sure why I wore it. It was cold, but I'm just like, I'm going to wear it out. And we go over to the side on Pappy's, and Brodeur is eating like in a separate area. You can't sit next to him.
Of
It's like-
course.
and I
It's the
remember
Bernard treatment.
And he had a few altercations with Domi, and he's probably like, "What is this idiot
Trolling
doing?" Wearing
me from the window?
staring at me. I was sitting right across from him while he was eating, and I had the Domi jersey on, and I'm like, "Wow."
It just worked out perfectly, really.
And he got up and left. Nothing.
He probably was hoping that it wasn't Ty Domi looking around the corner, maybe possibly wanting to beat the shit out of him.
Ty
because
Domi
that's
still
something Ty
wears his
Domi's
own
been known
jersey.
for.
He
Yeah.
wears his own jersey to restaurants.
This heavy set redhead is just eyeballing me with a Domi jersey on. He wants to throw down right now, and
That
you know,
it's the ultimate troll.
right.
I like
and
that.
I went over to Center Ice, and they were closed, and we were kind of bummed out because it was supposed to be open. but
Yeah.
it wasn't. It had like an event, and the one of the owners actually ran out to us and was like, "Hey guys, how about I give you a private tour since you're
That's
here?"
awesome.
And it was like
That's
that
really
was
cool.
really awesome. So he walked us
I mean, they
around the
didn't
whole
have to do
place.
that. That's
no,
cool.
That's dope.
and I would have been, no big deal, but walked us around the whole place, and yeah, I'm a
learned
big
a
fan
lot
of
about
them.
the place.
Makes me like them even more. So
Hey,
like
let
that.
me hit the
Definitely gotta
comment
check that
section
place
here real quick. We got Kevin Miller tuning in again. Thank you, Kevin, loyal fan. We appreciate that. He says sick beat for the opening thing. Hey, I can't,
Thank you.
that is the intro song that comes with this awesome Roadcaster Pro. So we're really using that while we don't have an intro song. We're glad we have a logo now. So if you're not a part of our Facebook group, the Nameless Shameless Podcast, please go ahead and join that.
That song
We've
gets
got
you, though.
620 plus members or something like that
Yeah,
right now. It just
yeah.
started about
Thank
a week
you
and a half
guys.
ago.
Doing
So
good.
thank you
dope.
so much.
We
It's
love
been a fantastic following. So just for those of you maybe tuning in for the first time, we like to bring up just some general topics that we can find. We're open to any questions that you have in the comments section. We also like any type of feedback, or even if you have any topics or anything like that, chime in on something we're talking about, or give us something to talk about. We would love to see what you guys think. Really quickly, we got Shay Gutnick is saying we love moms, and she also says that she loves a good dark beer. Mark, so
oh yeah,
she does agree with that.
This is the darkest of beers.
Right.
Yeah.
We got
Good
Alex
up perennial.
Kenny actually that says, "What up, boys?" He says, "Loving the show." He works at Tap House and he loves the shout out. You're
oh
very welcome.
absolutely love it. Love Colleen too. That's I believe she's the owner, and she is so awesome. So
That's awesome.
Colleen's always there. She's always working. So she's
Is
always
that Colleen that used to work down here?
correct.
Too? Oh,
Yeah,
I love
she
Colleen.
is awesome.
I love Colleen.
So-
Congratulations.
Very
I,
cool.
I wish you well with that, and I hope that it seems like she's doing really well.
She
She's
is doing
still
good.
working with the sports pub too.
sports pub and tap house. She's
Good
running
for
them
her.
both. So
Good for her.
Yep.
She was like my bar mom.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
At her old place of business when we used to go to Crocs a lot. And I remember there was one I was had a couple too many drinks and someone started to get into a fight, and instead of trying to break it up, I stood up on my chair and I was like, yeah, get it. I was stoking the fire a little bit. Colleen just goes, Kyle, points at me, and I just like, sorry, Colleen.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Whoops, you just know
Fair
better.
enough, fair
Colleen,
enough.
you just know better.
Right.
From Colleen.
You don't mess with Mama Colleen,
That's
that's, for
right.
sure. And I hope you're watching. I haven't seen you in a while. I love you. It's been a long time. A good friend of mine, and congratulations with the endeavors. It sounds like you're doing really well. So we have also in the chat here, let's see, John Nesselhoff says, Mark Houston is the king of craft beers.
The king.
I appreciate that. I wouldn't even say I'm the king, but okay, maybe a little.
Connoisseur.
Maybe a little.
Extreme.
No, I venture out. I'm open to pretty much anything. So
Yeah.
there's a lot out there. There's a lot of good stuff in St. Louis.
No doubt.
Yeah. Hey, Tony Mariani is tuning in with his wife. Thank you for saying hello for him.
Love you, Tony.
Yeah,
and
thank
Nina.
you for tuning in. Nina, thank you for posting that up there as well, too.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. We've got, do I come in the most overweight in spring training from Jim Belcher? Did you say who is going to come in the most overweight in spring training? Because, I mean, I'm coming in a little hot here for sure.
I'm going
Yeah,
to say
same.
Bartolo Colon if he's pitching still, and my guess is yes.
If Bartolo Colon has not gone actually to the point to where he is literally like retired at this point, then yes, I will say 100% that is the case.
Depends on what spring training you're talking about, too. I'm assuming baseball, but if you're talking about hockey, you should see Dustin Byfuglien and what he's let himself go
Oh,
to
God.
in the recent
Is he that
years.
bad?
Oh, man, there's no way he could go out and last 20 minutes during an NHL game. There's no way.
That's wild. That's wild.
Maybe, I don't know.
We got
and
Mr.
maybe be put into playoff hockey in that shape.
Right away.
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
signing him.
Mike
I don't think so.
Krzeski
Sorry,
is
buddy.
tuning in. Thank you, Mike, for tuning in. He's also got his podcast that he's doing, which is Gru's Blues Reviews, which I believe that all three of us have been invited to go on,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to get that
Love
set up.
talking
So
blues.
definitely would love to do that, and I can't wait to do that. So thanks for tuning in, buddy. Let's see what we got here. Josh Ulrich says that beer is black, is Trump's soul.
Man, this beer is hitting
Hey,
hard, huh?
hey, he is admitting that you have a soul and you're a ginger,
That's-
my
you
friend.
don't
That's
get much
a
of
win.
that. That's a win for
in
me.
That's
I'll
a
take
win
that.
as far as I'm going with that.
Thanks, Josh.
Just to let everybody know as well, the Tap House, as far as Alex Kenny, an employee there, is saying that they open back up on the 18th for business at
Awesome.
both locations.
Very cool.
So thank you for shouting that out. Really
Shout
appreciate
out to
that. Alex.
opening back up city and county. Thank
Love
you.
it.
So nice
We're getting there.
shout out to the beer. So Nick, I mean, we're gonna go over to you for some entertainment news here. What do you got for us, man? You got some more music?
Well, I got some music news. I just want to give one shout out to another local place really quick.
Let's do it.
I had a great weekend with my beautiful girlfriend. We went out Saturday. She surprised me with this box from a place I love, a local place called Narwhals. I don't know if you guys know what Narwhals is, but it's a frozen liquor slushy place. And who doesn't love frozen drinks? And who
It's a
doesn't
dangerous
love
combination.
Yeah, the
Heard it's
combination.
awesome.
It could.
Heard it's really good.
It'll get you. You'll get brain freeze. You'll drink them too fast. Your tongue will hurt. You'll get whatever. But they're doing this awesome thing. They're teaming up with a bunch of local places. They're teaming up with Crispy Edge pot stickers. They're teaming up with Pretzel Boy pretzels. That you get 50 pretzel bites. You get 14 pot stickers. You get 2 frozen drinks, and you can take that box and you can go to the Arch Grounds. You can have a beautiful date day. Grab a blanket. Grab your girl or your boy if the girls are listening, and enjoy yourself. They give you a toilet paper roll. I mean, they give you 2 beers. They're warm, so bring a little ice. They and you get 2 vegan and gluten-free brownies. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for.
The toilet paper
What's the
is probably
toilet
worth
paper
it
for?
alone.
Yeah.
Toilet papers for the people who
It's just
can't find
it's
toilet
just a
paper.
sanitation thing. It says, "Hey, come here. We'll supply you with a roll of toilet paper if you enjoy our
They-
place of business."
There's some TP.
Look, it's hard to come by. Let's be honest. It's hard to come by
Pawn
these
shops
days.
are going
and,
to be littered with gold and diamonds.
Ration
You will be
that
able to
stuff.
find paper towels and toilet paper.
I think you
nowhere.
can pawn toilet paper right now. Actually, they're
probably
accepting.
could.
They're
Get on
accepting
Facebook Marketplace and get a couple rolls.
a roll, like a 12-pack of Charmin. You could.
We were talking about that. You're saying like the prices are just up everywhere for.
It seems
For
like it.
everything.
You know, there's no sales. Obviously, nothing's
I just
on
want to
sale
get
right
like
now.
a 3-pack deal of some Dr Pepper and not pay like $4 to $5 per 12-pack.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
Gas is
No.
cheap, so
It's not.
Gas is cheap, yeah, but you can't go nowhere.
but you can't go anywhere. So
But
you know.
so
I know,
that's
that just
a
doesn't
good
Funny
shout
how
out
things
though.
work. But shout out to Narwhals Crafted. They got a location in Midtown. Obviously, that's where I went. I think they have one in St. Charles too, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a great place, great stuff, and they team with all these local places who are also hurting for
I gotta
business.
check that
and
out. I've
Support
heard-
them.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a beautiful date day. Go to Tower Grove Park. Go to, like I said, the Arch Grounds. We actually went to the Arch Grounds yesterday with a blanket. First time I've been down there since they've redone it all. Have you been there?
No,
Have you
I
been
haven't.
there?
I have
I have
not,
not.
actually.
I mean, it's just, it's still a view of beautiful
Of-
Illinois, but
Illinois.
you know,
Yeah, I mean-
it's still like you see the river, you see the barges, you see stuff.
Yeah.
You're right under the arch. We took some awesome
You
pictures.
got the
It's-
flood wall down there
you
still.
still appreciate
There's
it. It's
art
still
on the
St.
flood
Louis,
wall.
and that's all we know, and
Yeah,
that's
there's
what we
art
grew
on
up
the
with,
flood
and
wall.
we
There's a-
appreciate
there-
it.
there
The
is-
flood wall, the graffiti wall is dope. If you just take a walk down there, it's just fun to.
Yeah, the graffiti wall is
Look
cool.
at
I
all
would
that
also say
stuff.
too. Have you guys have you seen the aquarium yet?
I haven't actually been into the
I
aquarium.
have not either.
I have not either. My wife went, but they only had like half the fish there.
Interesting.
So she was just like, "There's a bunch of empty tanks. Oh yeah, that'll be here in like a
Yeah,
couple weeks."
they're
So
still
she's like,
kinda-
okay.
It was just basically an aquarium with like water and then a nameplate, and you're like looking for it, and someone walks up and goes,
maybe-
Is he hidden?
"Yeah,
or-
we're gonna get that soon."
Maybe he's
That's
just
coming
not
soon.
there.
I think they were supposed to open it
They do
much
sleeping?
earlier than they
Yeah.
did, and then they opened it just because everyone was clamoring for it, and
Right.
it still might not have been all the way done. But I'm
Right.
sure after this pandemic, they're probably.
Well, I
gonna be
mean,
ready
you
to
can't
go.
you can't go to the aquarium if you don't do the Ferris wheel.
You can't.
That's
You can't
true.
go do the
Right?
Ferris wheel if you don't get a $20 slushy or a $20
Oh yeah.
milkshake with a cupcake on it.
You know what? I
You're going down there, you spend this money. It's worth it though because
I support it, man. I
Let's
mean,
do it, man.
look at where it was at
We're
and
working- we're
what it's
working our way
become.
up.
I'm happy with that.
No doubt. I love that too, man. It's
So
a
what else you
beautiful
got?
thing.
You got a nice shout out there.
So that's a shout out to Narwhals Crafted. You know, I don't have much music news. It's the same stuff every week. You guys go to relics.com, you go to nugs.tv. It lists out all the live streams from any genre you want. They got jazz bands, they got funk bands, they have everyone. I'll post the links. I think I said I do that
Pick
last
your
time.
poison.
I never did. I saw
Right?
it. They've got any genre you could possibly want. It's
We're saying
everyone's
it's,
live streaming. Man.
It's not just a singular suggestion here. Check it out. Some of these bands some of these bands you guys might like. Some of them you might
These are
not.
all, and absolutely, these are bands. I really like the underground stuff that not many people know of, and I'm sure like maybe you've heard of some of these bands, maybe you haven't, but I want to let you know about some of these things. They deserve support because they're really good. So a couple cancellations first are just big festivals. The Peach Festival in Scranton, Pennsylvania, just a beautiful festival every year, year after year. Canceled.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually the most upset about that.
2021. We'll see. We'll see again in 2021. No rescheduled date. I feel like a lot of things that are getting canceled now are canceled because the previous date that people are rescheduling these for dates. They're already taken up. Like fall is going to be overloaded with things if we're actually allowed to come back.
I agree.
on.
No, I agree.
And for all you freaks out there, Camp Bisco this year
Camp Bisco
has been completely shut down until next year. Sorry, all you freaks. If you want to, if you know what I'm talking about, just YouTube
Should I do it
some
again?
videos. YouTube videos from Camp Bisco and previous. It's fun, but there are a lot of freaks out there. Sorry for those two festivals. Sorry for all the festivals. Sorry for all the musicians and bands out there trying to make a living during this time, man. It's
a bummer.
Tough. It's tough, but they're making it happen. So, two things I want to tell you about. Really good things. Really good bands. The Hangout Festival. I'm sure you've heard of that. I hope you've heard of that. It's a beautiful place. It usually takes place in Gulf Shores, Alabama, on the beach.
I know where that
Beautiful
is. Yeah.
Jack Johnson, I think, plays every year. So many good bands. Well, this year they're doing Hang From Home because naturally
obviously
there's no
the COVID.
Hangout Festival.
Right.
Which sucks. So that's going to happen May. That's actually happened coming up here, May 15th through 17th. And there's so many good bands playing it. Trey Anastasia Band, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Gary Clark Jr., The Revivalists, Government Mule, The Black Keys.
Does Trey Anastasio still do Meat Stick at all? When's the last time you've heard Meat Stick live?
Like the Fish song, Meat?
Yeah. No, time for the Meat Stick. Bring out the meat stick.
Dude, you know Fish does Meat Stick. If there's a song called Meat Stick, I guarantee Fish still plays it.
Absolutely. Tim Huber, shout out for the one that actually told me about that song. It's still stuck in my head from like the one or two times actually listening to it. Paul Heath is chiming in, so shout out to your pops.
Shout out, Paul.
Thank you, Paul, for chiming in. And Carl, thank you for chiming in again.
Shout out, Carl.
Always live in the comment section. Carl, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl.
Halloween. He mentioned Halloween, an amazing festival in Live Oak, Florida. On the beach, a beautiful thing. So it's not till October. Halloween. If you don't understand the correlation, then
I think what Carl's saying is that looks like progress.
But that is the fact that they're actually moving forward, signing bands, releasing a schedule, same dates, probably end of October. That's a good sign.
That's
because
real good.
They said that none of this was going to happen until 2021, maybe fall, maybe over a year from now. Like
who knows?
We still really don't know what's going to happen.
There's still lots of uncertainties.
And the final thing I just want to tell you guys about. You got to be a dome head to know this band. But there's a band out there called Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
And if you haven't heard of them,
I've never heard of that.
You just got to listen to them.
You never heard of Triple P?
Triple P?
Quad P. It's P.
Oh, sorry.
Bro.
Sorry.
Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. There's a
carried
gap
away with
in
too many
between
Ps.
ping pong.
Sorry.
P.
They have a festival every year called Dome Fest, obviously. Going to be canceled. So
unfortunate.
They're changing it to Home Fest this year, folks.
It's unfortunate.
June 11th to 13th. I'm telling you, like we said, these are just my suggestions of bands. I really think you need to just give it a listen. Give these bands a listen. Appreciate music out there that you know.
That's about give it a chance. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you don't know if you like it yet.
That's a name you can't forget. Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. Check out Home Fest, June 11th through 13th. It's just them so far, but you know their festival every year is top notch. They have the best friend. They're best friends with all these bands. So they all help each other out.
Great name.
We have Shay is chiming in again, saying she loves Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
So shout out to Pigeons.
I'm gonna have to look into it just because of the name, anyways.
I know it sounds interesting. How can you not?
That it sticks in your head. And they're dope. They're a happy, fun jam band, funky. And you love them. You can't not love a band like that.
Right.
Check them out. My suggestions, a quick little music minute for y'all this week.
Not bad. Right?
Not bad.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to look into that.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
I don't know if you guys noticed as well, too, in other news here, we've got my cool toys I got up here. I got an autographed Tony Hawk Funko Pop. It's pretty neat. I actually am trying to line up. I've been in like communication slightly with the folks that I've been purchasing this stuff from, and I think I'm going to line up an interview with them sometime. Really, really cool, down to earth people. I love watching their Facebook Live shows that they do when they sell some of this memorabilia. I'm a huge collector myself. I know, Chump, you like to do the jerseys.
I
and
dabble.
You do bobbleheads, and you have a lot of stuff like that as well too.
Couple things, yeah.
So we hope to spread the news out for them, because they're actually a just someone kind of like us who up and coming, and they've been together for a while. I actually learned about them from Kevin Smith, which is funny, like on Facebook. Actually, Kevin
Crazy.
Smith. So I'm wearing the Buddy Christ shirt here. This is from Dogma. It's for those of you who
Shout
are
out to
USC
Jay and
fans.
Silent Bob. Eh?
I have a Jay and Silent Bob shirt I'm going to probably wear next week, or our next episode. So tune in for that as well. Always got good shirts on this. If there's
Try
one
to
thing
keep
that
the
they'll talk
shirts
about the
fresh.
podcast, I think it's we talk some good sports, and
Yeah.
we got really, really good shirts.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I don't
Not
know.
to toot our own horns, but
Toot.
hey, one last music note from me. I just want to say rest in peace to Little Richard.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Richard is dead, man.
Man,
Yeah.
I remember him from being a kid. He freaked me out a little bit with his makeup and his stuff going on, because I didn't really, I didn't understand
didn't
music
understand
when I was
Little
a
Richard?
kid. I didn't understand.
You don't understand that it's a show,
and
and
still
that
really
if
don't. But
Little Richard could not have been Little Richard if he didn't do what he did.
dude, Little Richard
right.
was a pioneer, literally. Like he's up there
He was
with
awesome.
Chuck Berry. I mean, the pioneer of early rock and roll. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, another thing we got to talk about too is Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, 92.
rest in
92 years old,
Rest in
Jerry
peace,
Stiller
Jerry.
passed away
Hilarious
recently.
guy.
Very
Absolutely.
funny.
Seinfeld days. You never forget him.
I mean,
from being
I'm not gonna
Jerry's
lie,
dad.
the
Was it
one
Jerry's
thing-
dad or George's dad? Jerry's dad.
The one
Jerry's
thing that I'm
dead.
going to
Jerry's
always
dead.
remember him for is the Zoolander quote. Whenever he looks up and he goes, damn it, Derek, what do you do whenever you fall off the horse? And he literally looks at him and he goes, damn it, boss, I don't ride horses. And he's like talking about like getting back up. I try to be inspirational. And it's just it's a ride. I love it. So,
That's awesome.
Rest in peace, Jerry Stiller,
Yeah.
for sure.
so we've got, I mean, that's some tragic news. We don't normally like to go there, but
you gotta,
we need
you gotta
to. And we had to
recognize
give them a
these
shout
people.
out.
They're legends.
Yep.
You know?
They were.
Right.
Yeah.
In entertainment news, I actually been watching that show Upload. Have you seen that yet?
I have not seen Up.
Have you seen that at all, Nick?
I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I like what I've seen in the previews.
Yeah, I believe it's. Oh man, I'm pretty sure it's Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime Video. It is where you have a predetermined choice of if you want your consciousness uploaded to like a database, so that way, like heaven for you is a digital world, and it is like a way for you to live
What?
comfortably and
Really?
whatnot in the afterlife. It's a kind of a stick parody, kind of half serious, half funny. And I've only watched a couple episodes into it right now, but Upload on Amazon Prime Video is very, very, very interesting. It's kind of like a futuristic thing. They got like the autonomous vehicles, and there's basically a lot of that stuff that you'll see, and you'll kind of think, it makes you think a little bit different, like you're watching a different time frame, like we're many, many years ahead, and it's a cool kind of outlook. If you haven't seen it, check out the trailer for it. I think it's something that is definitely at least worth one watch
Yeah.
to see if it's something that might be.
I need a new show. So
You need a
maybe
new
that.
show?
I don't have a show right now. I have
Are
got
you-
nothing.
Are you like strictly like a horror guy? Like, do you prefer horror
Excuse me?
stuff?
I mean, I
Or I
like
know
it.
that you talk about it a lot.
I like it. I mean, if there's any, I never got into The Haunting of Hill House, and I think a lot of people are like, you never got into that? Never got past the first episode. But,
Yeah.
I don't know, anything anyone thinks would be good or something I haven't seen, I'm open. I'll give
Yeah.
anything a shot. So,
Absolutely.
I've been digging documentaries. I can't just. I think if you make an uninteresting I think it's impossible to make an uninteresting documentary. Every
Yeah?
documentary
Yeah.
I've watched lately has been just I get lost in it, no matter what it is. Whether it's
The
like
Bulls
I said,
thing.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Completely
The
captivated
Last
that
Dance.
dude. It's
Last
so
Dance,
good.
hands down, is one of like the best TV series that I've gotten to watch in a while. Alex Kinney wanted to let you guys know that was George's dad.
George's dad.
George.
It was George's
Okay.
dad that he played.
Okay.
Thank you, Alex, for clearing
Thank
that
you.
up. I know that they were unsure about that.
Jerry
Shay
Stiller.
also is stating out that Upload is amazing, and it is. Another show that she wants to shout out is Solar Opposites. It's basically like a Rick and Morty spinoff.
Really?
So it's on, and Shay, let me know. I believe it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure that it's basically like Rick and Morty, but it's just like a Netflix comedy cartoon, and it's got the same guy that does the voice for Rick.
Okay.
So it's very relatable in both of them. So
Rick and
it's
Morty's
definitely
hilarious.
something that you should check out if you're a
I'll
Rick
check
and
into
Morty
that.
fan. The Solar Opposites is definitely worth checking out. So check it out for sure. Paul Heath says Waco.
I've heard that. I've got to see.
So,
Waco.
so
Either
Nick,
of you
Nick,
seen
can
Waco?
Nick can chime
Yeah.
in on this. He actually, when he said that
Did
he
you like
watched
it?
it while he was out of town, what'd you
Dude,
think about
It
it?
is just we didn't want to. We could have watched all 6 the first night. There's only 6 episodes in it, so it doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
Right.
But man, you guys know you remember the Waco story just from being young. I remembered the story from when I was a kid watching
Sure.
the news.
Yeah, I
in
remember the
passing,
news.
You know, like all the stuff that happened, but just
Yeah, I need to
unbelievable.
watch that.
It's riveting,
Yeah.
man. Like,
That I
Waco
definitely
would
need
be
to get done.
good. For
and it's
sure.
and it's brought and it's written by the guy who was the negotiator between the FBI, I guess, or the ATF or whatever, the FBI, I think, and David Koresh. So he was in constant contact. The guy who wrote the book about that, and then some of it comes from the guys who actually survived, like the main
That's
characters
cool.
who actually survived.
That is also
cool.
People.
the Solar Opposites correction here. Thank you, Shay. It's on Hulu.
Hulu
Solar
coming through
Opposites
with
on
so
Hulu.
much good stuff,
If you're a Rick and Morty fan, definitely check it out. It is going to make you laugh. And some people are saying that it's like a weird spinoff. It's called Solar Opposites. Maybe that's the way that they're getting away with it, being as
Makes
much
sense.
like Rick and Morty as
Right.
it is, and being on a different streaming service. So
Makes sense.
definitely is a good watch there. Zach Pravasnik, thanks for tuning in, man. He says, have I been watching Dave? The answer is that I have not, and I've had so many people recommend it, and I'm a huge Little Dicky fan. Obviously, you know that, and I do need to catch up on that. I just have not had it come across my plate yet. So yes, I've heard that it is that good that I need to be watching it. And when I tell people that I haven't seen it, they've like that
Dave
comment,
is
or
awesome. Like
I
I
haven't
just
or
seen
other
said,
people just being like,
Another
yeah.
one I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen
Dave?
that either.
just because it's so good, man. Like, you know, I think we talked about this on a previous show, but I didn't really. Little Dicky was just kind of a joke to me.
See,
I mean,
you could take
his-
him as a joke,
his
but you
show
can't
is-
you can't deny his talent.
You
I think
can't.
that's the main
The
thing.
dude spits bars after bars.
He does. He does.
And then more bars.
So,
and he's
yes.
funny as hell. That show is awesome. 10 episodes on that. The season just ended last week, and I can't wait till the second season. That
Right.
last episode's awesome. So much good stuff too, man. So much realness out of that, and a lot of those episodes are based after actual stories in his life. So
Yeah.
Dave is a great show. Shout out to Hulu and Dave.
To
Yeah.
look into Dave.
Yeah, and Shay says we're having a day of Dave. Yeah, we do need to do that, Shay, I think, because honestly, too many people have been asking me about it. So
Such a good
I
show.
think we will have to have a day to catch up on some Dave for sure.
And then
But,
you get into that. You get into the spiral of watching all Little Dicky stuff on his internet too, on a YouTube and stuff. That it is good, man. He's awesome. Watch it.
So, for those of you that are just joining in, we're basically talking some entertainment right now, TV shows, movies, whatever it is that you may have on a streaming service, maybe something that you just haven't seen in a while. Now, Mark, something that we do need to talk about that you spilled the beans on earlier. You said you haven't
Dogma.
seen. No, we're not going to go there yet.
Oh,
You haven't seen Pulp Fiction in
not
its
the whole
entirety?
thing. No.
Okay. So, for any of you out there that are Tarantino fans, I don't know how I should act right now, but you let me know. Pulp Fiction is a very grimy movie, right?
Yeah.
It is probably one of my favorite movies of growing up. One of those movies where I was like young when it first came out, to where like I couldn't even watch. I think my dad rented it, and my mom. That's how old this is,
That's
right?
how old it is,
When we
yeah.
rented VHS tapes, and-
Remember that?
or maybe even a DVD. I can't remember, but my dad rented it, and I was laying on the couch, and I remember like being told like, no, yeah, you can't watch this.
You can't watch that.
So of course, whenever I grew up a little bit and I ended up watching that movie, I don't regret it. It's in one of my my top 10 lists, depending on where you do it. TV shows and movies are always so hard to put a list together on,
They really are.
because you're like, well, what genre are you talking about? And then
Right.
they're like, well, what about sci-fi horror? Because there's horror and then there's sci-fi, and then you have like
Right.
a horror sci-fi. So it's funny how that all bunches together too. But let us
Thriller.
know
Yeah.
what movies should you be seeing, what TV shows should you be watching, and then also what streaming services are you watching them on? If you guys get the chat going, and we'll respond to such. So other movies though as well. So I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. We've talked about this before. You know that as well too. So you haven't seen all of his movies.
No.
Have you seen? So I'll start with like Clerks.
Yeah.
You've seen Clerks 2?
Yeah.
You've seen Mallrats?
No.
Okay, that's a must.
Haven't
in
seen
my eyes,
Mallrats.
If
No.
you haven't seen Mallrats, Ron Delisle, Jeremy Holiday, those of you that are out there that are watching, those are
Shout
friends of mine
out.
that actually showed me that movie for the first time, and it's a cult classic. Mallrats is definitely a must watch, and if you can watch them kind of in the order that they came out as well, would help out.
Yeah.
Because the View Askew universe is very cool, and I like what Kevin Smith did over the years of him being a director and being in his movies as well. And I would say that Mallrats is a must. Dogma, I'm wearing a Dogma shirt right now with the whole Buddy Christ thing.
Love Dogma.
That's a great movie as well too. Takes a shot at religion.
Right.
There's actually a really cool story about Kevin Smith. Whenever that movie came out, there was people that were protesting the movie, like, you know, they obviously, because it's a bash on religion a little bit, which, and I'm just talking about the movie in general, but he saw this crowd of people and made a sign and went out there, because there was a crew out there with a news crew. And he actually jumped in and they interviewed him. And he interviewed talking about how people were protesting like his movie. And he's like, yeah, it's just terrible. And it is so funny. It is very candid too, like the fact that he did it, because Kevin Smith is just off the wall.
Shows you
above
the
him.
media just doesn't pay one bit of attention
Have you,
to what's happening around.
Have you seen Tusk?
I have not. Now that's one of his like his latest ones. Obviously,
I don't even want to say anything. Just watch it.
So here's the thing. Now,
Good or bad?
as
You don't
somebody-
even
I
wanna say
don't
that.
know what to think. When it ended, I was just like, I told like 3 people to watch it, and they go, "Why would you tell me to watch that?"
right. So,
But I watched the whole thing, and
Carl is saying Clerks is a must. So
Yeah.
that's good that you've seen that for sure.
I've seen that. Yes.
I would say Tusk is definitely one that challenged Kevin Smith fans, and the fact of like, hey, he's
God.
doing something different. You don't have to like it if you don't
No.
want to, and it's very deranged and it's very sick and twisted, right? I know about it, right? And poor what's his name?
Justin
Long. Poor Justin Long
If
for
you
that
could just-
movie.
Just type in Justin Long Tusk, and you'll just be like, "What the?
What the hell is
what
going
am I
on?
looking at?"
Right.
How new is
It's
that?
worth what?
Is that like really new?
Like 14, maybe?
Yeah,
Was
it's
that
a couple
2015?
3-4 years ago.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Check
got.
that out.
Nick
I
said
mean,
that
it's
he.
different.
Nick actually says he almost wasn't allowed in the house over this. I would imagine that was over the Pulp Fiction thing that we were talking about earlier, possibly. And let's see here. Shay says she's never seen Mallrats, and Boomer says we're watching it tonight. That's awesome, because Mallrats, it's one that
I
will
need to watch
stand the
that
test of time.
I need
It
to
will
watch
stand the
that.
test of time. It's got Shannon Doherty in it too. Whenever she was in like 90210 and stuff at a younger age, she was friends with Kevin Smith. And poor girl, she's got cancer, but I think she's dying of cancer.
jeez.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty is.
She's
Yeah.
fighting though.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got what do we got here? We've got Shay saying, "Oh no, we got Michael Mag is saying Tusk is messed up. Got to see it." I
All right.
agree.
I already like what I hear about.
I
it.
mean,
So
it's messed up and you gotta see it. That's
will
good.
challenge you. It is a very a very interesting movie. If you read don't read about it, just watch it.
Just watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't look
because
up any
I'm
reviews,
into
just
some
go.
of those like kind
Go
of
right
one,
in.
You know, I'm into some of those like one watch kind of movies. You know, even if it's by a director that I respect.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to always hit it out of the park. They can be a little bit different. People have dabbled
Yeah.
in other areas.
He definitely takes a wide dive at the horror.
But yes,
I like things that aren't the
genre.
same. Everything's been the same for such a long time. So let's mix it up a little bit with some weird stuff.
Definitely go
Yeah.
for it. Give
Yeah.
Tusk a shot.
Tusk.
yeah.
Can't wait to watch that, actually.
Nick, give me a movie or something. What's going on in your group of people that you watch the most with? Right, I know there's a range of ages there, right? Are you guys watching some like?
Oh, so we
saying.
checked out Trolls World Tour.
See what I'm saying?
yeah.
Dynamite.
That was
I knew it.
actually the EDM trolls were pretty cool. The neon bouncy EDM trolls.
I've actually heard that was actually pretty.
I dug it.
It was pretty funny. Or like
It's
kind
pretty
of,
funny.
It was kind of fun, I should say.
Yeah, I
My
actually
mom always enjoys those movies. She takes like my cousins and stuff to go see it all the time, or
The
see movies all
girls-
the time.
the
Whenever
kids
it was
is-
cool to do that.
Yeah, the kids have seen that. I never saw the first Trolls. I can't even lie about that. So the kids had seen the first Trolls, and they really liked the first Troll. And yeah, the littlest one we watched with her, and they were digging Trolls World Tour. So that is.
Trolls World Tour.
We also paid $20 for it, but if you think about it, to rent, by the way,
Yeah.
if you think about it, that is like it was supposed to be released in theaters. I saw everyone complaining about it. Then I sat down and thought about it. Like it's just
gotta
$5
understand what
bucks
it
a
is.
ticket,
Yeah.
and it's a huge motion picture with
gotta
Justin
understand
Timberlake
what
and all
it
these
is.
right.
huge actors they had to pay millions and millions of dollars to. So
Yeah.
$20 to rent for 2 days, and it was a decent movie. So that was good.
That's not bad.
And then one thing, I want to bring this up. Another person I never really paid attention to, but another documentary that I watched that was really good the other day, and it really hit home for me, especially. But you ever heard of Little Peep?
no.
Little Peep. No, I have not.
Well, it's just like
Preach,
I don't,
man.
I
Tell
don't
me
even know
about it.
how to explain him, but I guess he's just like an emo. I don't know. His music was kind of, don't want to stir up any controversy, but it was kind of garbage from what I personally, from my personal taste, from what I heard. But I guess it was just emotional, and his lyrics hit home to a lot of just young kids, and he was kind of like popular in spots. He died of a drug overdose, but his whole just. You know, it was a documentary that we just kept passing up, like those things you just keep seeing the previews
And you
for.
finally checked it out.
And we finally checked it out, and I was like, I'm not going to dig this. And eventually, like towards the at the end,
Yeah.
because a lot of people deal with it hit close to home to me especially, but I know like there's people out there who that's going to hit close to home too, man.
Yeah.
Lil Peep,
Lil Peep.
never, not like I said, never another like Lil Dicky. You just never pay attention to guys like
Yeah.
that. Me personally, but then you kind of like get into there and see what's really going on in these people's lives, and I'm just digging documentaries.
Yeah.
Man. Like
Documentaries are fun to watch. I mean, the most recent one that I watched, we talked about today, I want to say is still the Gringo, the Pete McAfee story, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Pat.
I know
the kicker or whatever?
McAfee, the dude that did McAfee antivirus.
Oh, that crazy guy who
He
killed
was
his neighbors.
he
and
killed
stuff?
his neighbor. He watched the
What is that on?
documentary.
I like
It was on Netflix.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to blurt
It was
that
on
out, but-
Netflix. It was basically a whole documentary, not done by people that McAfee hired, and it really kind of exposes the real person that he is.
Yeah.
And you should definitely check it out. He was a deranged man, and he's still
that was like
he's
a
still
Dateline.
free, I think. Right
it was
now.
like a Dateline thing, like a Dateline NBC
gonna have
story
to watch
at one
that.
point. But I'm glad they made a full documentary about it because that guy's got
Yeah.
it was a crazy life, man.
Right, we
That's
got
awesome.
we got Matt Joseph says he just Googled Tusk and the only thing he typed was haha. We have
Can't wait to
Michael.
watch Tusk.
You
Michael
just gotta
Mag-
watch it, man.
Michael Mag says it's close to Human Centipede type movie.
Have
I
you
can
seen
agree with that.
Oh,
I can
that's-
agree with that.
That's too much for me. though.
That's a little over the top, but Tusk isn't far off from that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'd
Don't
say
watch it
Human
with the
Centipede,
kids.
Yeah.
Put the kids to bed, then watch Tusk.
Yeah. Shay says that the new Trolls is amazing, so she also agrees. Thank you, Shay, for
Shout out to
typing in there.
Trolls World Tour. It was worth the $19.99 for 2 days, 48 hours. I'm not gonna lie.
Courtney Houston says Tessa wants Mark to rent Trolls World Tour tonight.
I say do it.
We'll see. I think
I
you'll
mean-
probably be in bed by the time I get home. So
Rent it tomorrow so you have it.
But I mean,
Third-
Nick
what are the
gives it
days?
a
Tuesday and
strong
Wednesday.
thumbs
we can
up.
either do
Trolls World
that,
Tour
or
was
we
good.
can scar you for life, and we can
Watch
watch Tusk and do whatever you want to do.
Your choice: Trolls World Tour
Troll-
or Tusk.
Dear
It's
Lord,
one or the other.
I will donate for Trolls, please.
And then we need a reaction video from
Yeah,
the entire
I could take
family.
a video of everyone while they're staring at Tusk.
There are some cringy movies like that. Tusk just so happens to be one of those movies that was really cringy that is easy to watch. Now, like Hobo with a Shotgun, have you seen that movie?
That's a good movie.
So I
That's
like
really
the movie.
good.
I like
Yeah.
the movie, but it's one of those kind of like it's so cheesy, it's good
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
You know? Have you seen Hobo with a Shotgun?
Never heard of it.
Oh my gosh. One of
It's
my
an actual
all-time
movie or a documentary?
It's an actual movie. One of my all-time favorite like kind of mock movies too would have to be Kung Pao, Enter the Fist.
I own that.
That is
own that
probably
too.
But
like
it was a package deal with Big Trouble in Little China. So
got
it was
it.
like,
Yeah.
hey, you get that for free. Since you
It's
bought
a-
this.
it's like a Steve
Kung Pao.
Odenkirk film or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
is like he remade all
Way over
those
the top.
old like Japanese kung fu movies and whatnot.
Overdubs
and
of
then
it.
he overdubs it. Yeah, and it is still to this day I can watch it and just laugh through about like 75% of it for
There were
sure.
so many good movies that came out in that short span of time. Do you remember Farce of the Penguins?
Oh,
Farce of the Penguins.
Where it was just like penguin footage.
I do remember that. Yeah, it was live. It was
overdubbed
actual,
by Tracy Morgan, Bob Saget. Like it was like it was
someone lost their job over that.
it was
movie.
offensive as hell. But Farce of the Penguins was just a classic over the top just movie from that same era that I remember. There were so many I could never even. You can't. There's still ridiculous movies being made.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's fun. I mean, there's other movies that are out there. We'll talk about some more next time. I would say though, my last one is what is it, The Boys or whatever it is, that Guy Ritchie film that just came out. It's like on DVD or something. I can't think of the name of it. I went and seen it in theaters. It was excellent. I'll have to look it up just so that way I can repost it so people can actually check it out. But we've got some sports that we're going to talk about here. Some sports topics touching, spanning across many different sports and different
sounds good to me.
people.
Oh yeah.
Starting, I mean, I want to start off with this because I mean, we got some people that are in here right now. Has anyone seen Mike Tyson announcing that he's coming back
God.
to box? Because first of all, Mike Tyson is one of the scariest men still to this day. And how old is he? He's like freaking almost
54,
Yeah, he's
I
like
believe.
55 years old. And he has pictures. He's in like
53.
just peak
53.
physical shape and is talking about coming back out. Now the question is though, who in their right mind wants to box with this damn dude? There's no one that's going to fight him.
After watching that video clip,
He's so fast.
I
Dude,
mean,
he's
it's just
incredibly
power.
fast.
I mean,
And-
I can't wait.
powerful.
I hope someone just.
I'm gonna eat your children.
dude, he said so. And now another thing, hot boxing. Mike Tyson's
Awesome
podcast
podcast.
is
Yeah.
fantastic. By the way,
So good.
I know we've
He's such
plugged
a
it before. You should definitely check it out if you
He's a
have
smart
not
dude.
seen it. He is. He's actually a real. A
Really
real dude
well-versed.
and a very well versed dude. You have to get past like the fact that he talks the way that he talks.
He's bit people's
Because
faces
it costs. Yeah. Has anyone seen that Vander Holyfield meme where he's got the face mask on for Corona, but like one side's falling down? And it literally, like my friend, I think
Can't keep this side on.
Donna Fink posted that on Facebook, and she said, she goes, if you don't get this, then you're too young or something like that.
That happened a while
But
ago.
but yes, that was good. That was a good meme that you put out there for Mr. Holyfield, and we're hoping that Holyfield can actually still stay safe in this time of COVID, with one of his ears being gnawed down to a fine point.
Yeah, it's a tough deal for him.
What can you do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What can you do?
Here, yeah, put
Dude,
some earmuffs
so
on.
let me ask you this, man. I hate seeing this because I like the guy. You always end up having this come up. It always is between college basketball to professional basketball, right? So Zion Williamson is one of the most electric players in basketball right
Up
now.
and comer. Yeah.
And they didn't really plan that much during the season, right? They were kind of like sandbagging a little bit with
yeah,
him.
they were kind of waiting. I mean,
I mean, what? No need to throw him out there. I don't think they were really competitors.
no, I don't think so either.
But for those of you who have not read about it yet, there's news again that Zion Williamson's stepfather and mother apparently like accepted gifts from Duke University, and there's recorded conversations apparently about what they wanted and what they were talking about, trying to get a talent such as Zion to their school.
Is that uncommon? I mean, I know it's not okay, but I mean, I feel like that's probably been going on for so long.
It's tough, man, because I mean, I thought they did just pass something recently, right? Where like the college students or the college athletes can get some sort of compensation.
they can get some type
right?
of compensation.
But-
as well as they deserve it.
But this
Right.
apparently is outside of those guidelines, right? So they're saying that there was like stuff offered to his family that would not have been offered, obviously, to your average Joe because of who he was and the stature
Right.
he is in the sport. I mean,
Right.
don't get me wrong. Nobody wanted to watch any other basketball besides Duke basketball.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That's coming from somebody that's not a huge college basketball fan
No.
myself. So I just know that from friends of mine that do watch avidly that was all that they talked about.
One of
when
the
that was on.
biggest stories of the year was when he blew out his shoe or whatever,
Yep.
busted
Yeah.
his whole
Oh,
leg,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
busted
the-
his
the
ankle and
shit.
stuff. And
Yeah.
the shoe company, was it Nike? I guess they were about to get shunned, and
Was
it might have been Nike. I don't know if
Was
it
it
was
Nike or
but
was that what's
Adidas.
his name's dad's
Was it?
company?
It wasn't Big Baller Brand. It could not have been.
I mean, if
just
shoes
gotta
are falling
expect those
apart
to
on
go
the
wrong.
if shoes are falling apart on the court, I'm
pretty
going to
bad.
say
Yeah,
it's
that's
Big Baller
real
brand.
It might have been.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what do you guys think about that though? Because I mean, athletes, I think college athletes should get compensation.
Absolutely.
Now, I think that they shouldn't be raking Williamson's family and him over the coals. They should be going more after like the fact that Duke was trying to say what's it going to take to get your son here, and it came down to a monetary value, and they ended up going for it.
And like you
they
said-
should be going after the school.
This has been timeless too. Like
Right.
it's his
I mean,
timeless actions. Like
the
this
big
is-
schools are going to be.
This isn't
They're
new.
going to get the big talent.
Well, I mean,
They're going to find a way to get them there. And how long has
Might
this
take
been
a little
going
bribery.
on? It might take a little. And
Wasn't
knows
Todd
what-
Todd Gurley when he got drafted? He had a
got-
huge thing was like he was signing autographs for
yep,
way too much money.
For too
they
much money.
said, and
I think so. I think
so.
so.
I mean, it's this is timeless. This whole.
I don't know what you
but
can
just
patrol.
Pay the damn kids.
I'm
They're
just
bringing so
over
much
it,
money to
you
these
know?
colleges. Like,
Right. And all these colleges get these big TV deals
Yep.
whenever they got competitive teams out.
the coaches
and
get
products.
paid
Right.
tens of millions of dollars.
Right. And they're all a part of this rue of luring in players to come and play for their teams, right? So how can you make though like the NBA scouting process and the fact that hey, come to this school, come to that school? How can you make that fair?
I don't know if you can,
I
and I don't think
you
it'll
can.
ever be fair. I don't know if that's something you can control.
Do you think a monetary? You think paying these kids would make them maybe stay longer because they'd leave to go make big bucks in the professional leagues, right?
right.
If they're getting paid in college, do you,
You
think
would
they'll?
imagine.
I mean, your ultimate goal is, if you're going to be a basketball player, is to get to the NBA.
Sure.
And if you can do it sooner than later,
So
why not?
May not even matter.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, the education's the most important
And
thing.
then
but-
we bring it to that too. A lot of these teachers know these kids are the best. You can't flunk them.
right,
You flunk them.
You gotta
out,
work with them.
You
Right.
can't. You know.
You're not going to flunk Zion Williamson
What would you-
and tell me he can't
What
play
would you do
basketball.
if, like,
for Duke.
you know, those players like just randomly went to smaller colleges or something like that? And
Well, yeah, where would it
Little
put their
parody
team
you
at?
got
college,
Zion
huh?
playing at SLU.
Right.
Like, I mean,
What
who
would that have
knows
done?
how exciting that could be? Like, just I know
mean,
that's just
To
far
bring
fetched as
to bring
hell.
so much attention to just a smaller college. Like,
It would be
you know.
fun.
It would.
Even
It
when
would be
Mizzou
fun.
got DGB, remember when that was just a huge deal? And I mean, Mizzou's kind of like a bigger.
I remember
obviously bigger. but-
Larry Hughes here. That was like a big deal.
Yeah,
For, you know, and I went and watched him with my dad in high school games. I think he was at CBC, and the gym's packed. I didn't know who he was, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, 13 years
Yeah,
old. My
you know
dad's
these
like, wait
guys
till
are
you
gonna
watch
be
this
good
kid play,
eventually.
and he was awesome. The
He had a
gym's
hell of
like
a career.
rocking, and yeah, made NBA, and he was a Billiken. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was really neat just to have someone like that who was that good.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
it's always a little more excitement to
It does.
for
And
basketball.
It makes you wonder, like you said, what would having a player like that be on a different team,
Right.
not a big market team like Duke,
Be kind of
do
fun.
for the sport or
Yeah.
for college basketball itself.
Yeah.
You don't see it though because it's not going to
It's
happen.
just not going to happen.
Yeah, because
As
of
much
things
as-
like this and why players are still getting raked over the coals for accepting money or
Right.
some sort of handout because of the fact that their talents are good and they want to make sure that they can guarantee that they're playing for their team.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the question I guess I have is it Zion's fault that
I
his
don't think so.
parent, his mom and his stepdad took it, which I would imagine he was probably in on the decision, right?
I'm sure.
But at
Yeah.
that point, he's a minor.
I think it's more the college's fault. I don't
That's what
really
I'm
put
saying.
this all on him.
No, I don't really put it on him at all. He's a kid.
know?
Like,
Right. So, to me, Zion, I don't know. I wish him well. I think he's going to be a great talent in the NBA. I just don't think that he needs to have this type of publicity this early in his career.
I agree.
And it's his former agent through college that is trying to like
Yeah.
have him come out and admit that this happened too.
Right.
Is that what's going on? kinda?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you know, sorry.
another cancellation
Happened
news.
always.
Another cancellation news. You got World Baseball.
The World
Baseball
Classic.
Classic is canceled this year.
The 2021 World Baseball Classic. So that was actually supposed to happen next year.
Guess he wants to stay in here. Buster doesn't know if he wants to
Buster.
come or go.
He's,
Buster's,
he's
uh,
conflicted right now.
You know,
He's the mascot. He doesn't know which one of us are going to pay attention to
Gosh
him.
darn, good
He's been
boy.
making his way
I think
around the
he's
table.
honestly
so.
curious about Tusk. That's why he
I
came
think
in
he
here.
is. I think
riveted,
he's saying,
as
boys,
we
you
all
said
are.
something about Tusk?
As we all are. So yeah, so when the World Baseball Classic was canceled for 20, I guess it was supposed to happen next year, and we're so far behind already this year that we know that it's going to bleed into. It's going to take a while to catch back up here. So they've already canceled the World Baseball Classic for 2021. It's not a priority right now, they say, and they're trying to they're going to delay it probably until 2023. So the next awesome World Baseball Classic, the gathering of the countries,
Will be 2023.
probably won't happen
Yeah.
for 3 years.
That sucks.
That does suck.
Hey, Quentin Reed decided to chime in and say the NBA G League has restructured the last few years to attract guys that would be one-and-done guys in college. In a few years, you could see actual blue-chip prospects choosing to take a six-figure deal in the NBA minors versus going to a D1 school.
I like that.
I like
Not a
it.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
It's interesting. I mean, it's to me, you need to find ways to compensate these guys at younger ages so that way it doesn't higher the potential chance that they do something stupid because they are one blown out knee or ankle away from
So
not
many players.
Right.
from not making any more money.
Yeah.
So, well, that's
Yeah.
just my thought.
And that's him chiming in about Duke. You know, they got a lot of money for having Zion there. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's common knowledge that the high end guys are going to grab
Sure.
the attention. You're going to be on TV more. Everything's going to help Duke.
Right.
But what happened, you know, if some of these smaller schools were able to get someone like that and be put on the map?
You're right.
Exactly.
Even for that short time.
And
definitely
then
not
it changes
to
up
be,
that pool.
I mean,
Not
it'd be
fair at
cool.
all.
Be cool if it was more like a lottery.
It's not fair that these big schools can bribe these
just
young
gonna-
kids
yeah.
over our small schools that
Yep.
can't bribe us with as much.
Right. We can't
Come on.
pay you all
It's not
these extra-
fair.
Quentin also says, also, who made more money in the long run, Zion or Duke?
Yeah.
Get that paper, young fella. I agree, man. I'm on Zion's side. I can't support the guy enough. He's going to be an awesome talent in the league.
He
and,
is going to be good.
And I like
Yeah, he is.
watching the whole Jordan Last Dance thing is allowing me to come back and actually have a little bit more love or passion for basketball.
Yep.
A lot of people are off of it. A lot of people are over it, right?
I've been a little checked out,
I can't disagree.
The mid '90s NBA, Sean Kemp, Vince Carter, when the Raptors first started, I was big into that.
Larry
MJ was
Johnson,
going.
Larry Johnson
Kobe was
dressing as a
brand
grandma.
new.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Grandmama.
Shaq and Anthony Hardaway. You
Remember
think of all
Muggsy
those-
Bogues? Duncan,
Muggsy
5'3".
Bogues. Right. It was a fun time of NBA. Right now, I'm a little back off from it.
It's gotten a little too Showtime for most people.
That Bulls documentary's been fantastic.
brings you back.
It's kind of reeled me back into the glory days of watching the NBA. Those good teams in the 90s.
Yeah.
Things like that. Very cool.
Yeah, hey, Mike Grzeski says the All England Lawn Tennis Association, which organizes the Wimbledon tennis tournament, is making out the best here, boys. They had pandemic insurance before all this happened. That's crazy. I hope I hope that you're not joking and that's a real story, because I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised in this case.
Hey,
For
Bill
sure.
Gates predicts a pandemic every 20 years from now on. So if you don't have pandemic insurance after this,
You better get it.
Joe Weicker
better
says
get it.
B.J. Armstrong, you goofs.
Dude.
BJ Armstrong,
B.J.
remember that
Armstrong.
fool? John
Yeah.
Starks. Remember those days
Remember-
of like Patrick Ewing, John Starks?
Yeah.
I watched him, John
John
Starks,
Starks.
punch
Yeah.
someone in the face and then run away the other day. I forgot who it was, but
It's probably Reggie Miller.
I think it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was
Reggie
it.
Miller, that was the
Reggie
ultimate
would
intimidator.
ride
I think they actually
Starks'
both ran
ass.
away.
Yeah.
But Reggie wanted that.
Yeah, he
Reggie was
did.
like,
He was
get
asking
pissed
for
off.
it.
I want you to hit me. That's
Yeah.
what he was. But
Great shooter.
Great shooter.
Great shooter. Honestly, the most memories that I have of watching basketball from my youth was watching the Bulls, because Jordan was you had to watch.
You had to watch the Bulls
the
when they were
Jordan,
on.
Bulls. And then of course after
Hakeem?
that, because I went to the
Hakeem, the
Indianapolis.
Dream.
Yeah, I went to the Indianapolis 500 many years. There was always basketball in there. Very
Yep.
big basketball.
They had a great team.
Fans there. Yeah,
Miller and, who
we
was the other-
watched.
who
We
was the
watched
other
a lot
shooter?
of their
They
games.
had
the shaved head.
they had Rick Smith was like their big guy down low, and then they had Mark Jackson. They had a lot of pieces, but
Reggie.
I don't
was
know.
just a pure shooter,
a
man. Like
Reggie was a timely shooter. He hit those big shots, and I went to my first NBA game with my dad. We took a road trip, father son. I've never been to an NBA game.
Where'd you
So
go?
We went to Indiana
Okay.
for a Pacers game, and then we went. You remember the movie Hoosiers?
Yeah.
It's like my dad's favorite movie of all time. So we went to the gym. We found it in Indiana, still standing. It's the only thing that's changed. It has AC now,
Okay.
but the gym is still like painted green. And my dad's like, I got to get out there and shoot one basket. And he went out there. He missed the first one, and he made the second one.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm good. That's all I
50%.
needed. But
Yeah.
it was the gym they shot Hoosiers at.
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Father
Oh, yeah.
son
That's
trip. It was
nostalgic.
pretty
Only-
cool. First NBA game.
Only first and only NBA game that I've been to that I can recall was I took a road trip with my buddy Sean Milligan and his mom, dad, and his brother, and ended up going to Oklahoma City for
cool.
a Thunder
For a Thunder
versus
game?
Lakers game, and it was
Oh.
actually the Thunder ended up beating the shit out of the Lakers that game. And I mean, it was the point to where we were almost offended because Kobe didn't even play in the second half. I mean, if you knew how diehard of a Kobe fan that my buddy Sean is, it
Yeah.
was kind of man, I wish
see the
we would have
Lakers-
been able to watch him put on
see
a
the
Kobe
Lakers, you wanna see
performance.
Kobe.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was a little downer there. Joe Weicker says here that Bulls and Pacers was always a great matchup.
Always.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that's why
Classic.
it's fresh in my brain. Is that whenever Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, and being a Pacers fan inherently because friends and family were always down there as
Yep.
well too, and you're watching around people that want them to win. I gotta admit, I rooted for the Indiana Pacers
Yeah.
many times during some of those things. It was just not having a team and having to pick who you wanted to kind of win. And you see the Bulls win multiple years in a row. You can't deny the talent, obviously, but
Right.
you want to see somebody else win sometimes.
Reggie Miller was such a sweet guy too. I think he was kind of mean down deep, but he was just such a sweet guy, terrible trash talker kind of.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah,
you
great dude
felt-
off the court.
You feel really bad for him.
Screaming
He's
the
such a
choke
badass
sign,
dude.
Right.
screaming the choke
Yeah.
sign
I
at the
mean-
crowd when he scored 9 points in 38 seconds or
No
something.
doubt.
Just
No
a
doubt.
sweet guy, you know.
But he's so like soft spoken.
So
but he was
soft.
just like
It's true.
That's the only reason the Bulls eventually outmatched them and won.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah. Pretty
because
much.
he was their guy. And
Yeah. I mean, it was
Mullins, Chris Mullins,
Anybody
Chris-
that
Chris
Did he
Mullin
play for
Chris
them?
Mullin was a Warrior.
Warrior.
Right.
I just remember that.
Chris
shit.
Mullin, Tim Hardaway, the Warriors. That was when the Warriors were, before the new Warriors. When they were actually a little, maybe not as good. But
Yeah.
Warriors are wild.
Joe Weicker says Reggie and Charles always feel bad for those guys for not getting all the way.
Yeah, Charles, man.
Barkley.
Yep.
The best, sweetest swing in golf you've ever seen in your life.
Does he
Charles
have like a
Barkley's
Does
golf
he have
swing.
like a seizure in the middle of his golf swing?
There's something that it's a
don't know.
tick.
Is it like a tick or a hitch where it looks really jerky and really
Right.
strange?
He
if
has
you watch him hit
Tourette's,
the
but
ball?
it's only when he drives a golf ball.
That's basically what it looks
I
like.
think he
Yeah.
screams the F word. But it's awesome. He hits it. Good
That's
for him.
funny.
He's definitely lost tens of thousands of dollars to Michael on that golf course.
Who knows
And-
about the gambling amounts that have
Oh
added
my
up for
God.
him
Hundreds
over
of
the years?
thousands of
Insane.
dollars, probably. That's an understatement.
So this is actually another one here. We got Gretzky and Ovechkin. This is a fun little thing that I had read about. For charity purposes, Gretzky and Ovechkin actually hosted an NHL 20 game against one another to Battle of the Greats, essentially. They've raised $40,000 for relief efforts, and over 300,000 people watched on
Wow.
on the Capitals Twitch
Very cool.
stream.
That's awesome.
That'll bring people together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a
pretty cool.
That's cool.
I mean,
Hockey-
obviously, I think Gretzky's
hockey doing
embracing
hockey things.
right.
That's
I think
hockey.
I think it's
So,
also Gretzky kind of embracing the fact that he's going to get passed up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. If things don't change anytime soon,
He's
then it
fine
might,
with
that
it,
might
too.
change it. But
Yeah,
he
I
is.
think he's embraced that.
Yeah, I mean, you can only hold the torch up front for so long. Everyone's coming after you.
Yeah.
It's going to happen eventually.
Right.
And we thought his records were unbreakable, 10 years ago.
Maybe the point total probably is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
getting to the goals,
The goals
I think
is-
he can
Point total,
do
he's
it.
always going to own that.
He's gonna own that.
Gretzky's going to own point total.
He's got double the
Yeah.
assists he had goals.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's just-
I believe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's like
1,000 more points.
Joe
Something
Weicker,
to
Joe
the
Weicker
second
says
place.
Charles Barkley. God damn it, when he golfs. I agree. I agree. It is that
It's
ugly.
It's
Like,
so ugly.
bad.
It's
It's so
beautiful.
ugly, it's beautiful.
You can't. It's like a car wreck. You cannot
can't help
stop
but
looking.
look
And
away.
you got to keep. You're like, did that just happen? I can keep replaying
think
this
of-
over and over and over.
Think of all those NBA teams who got to the finals and then they ran into Michael and they couldn't beat him.
Oof.
Jazz were the same way. They had Stockton, Malone, and they couldn't beat him. They just couldn't.
Dude, that's
Poor
terrible.
Karl Malone.
You knew they weren't going to beat him.
Yeah.
Michael knew you weren't going to beat him. Really.
Well, he had that winner's ambition, like he said. And if you
Swagger.
watch The Last Dance as well too, the last two episodes, 7 and 8,
Yeah.
I think really hit home for like how you can see his full competitiveness and the
Oh,
way
yeah.
that he wasn't just a basketball player, like
No.
he was a winner, like he was a champion.
Yep.
Hands
he was
down.
out there to win. That
Hands
was it.
down.
Yeah, Carl chimes in and says that the pandemic was created to stop Ovechkin, right, Nick? That's awesome.
That's a conspiracy theory, but
mean,
I can't
There
disagree.
is a conspiracy
I
theory
can't
that
argue
the
it.
coronavirus was
questionable.
invented to prevent Ovechkin from
questionable.
breaking Gretzky's record.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard that, and
Should I've heard crazier news? I'm not going to throw that out the window yet.
We're not getting political here. Sorry, but I don't deny
But
it.
good call out on that, Carl. Good call out on that.
Yeah, I think he could still do it too, pandemic or not. He's
he
gonna
could.
get it.
Right.
He's still scoring at high
so good.
velocity.
Hey, Blackhawks news. As a Blues fan, Blackhawks news is always good.
turmoil's always good
Any
for the Blackhawks.
horrible news for the Blackhawks, we love. Sorry,
Blackhawks
Chicago fans.
had to fire John McDonough, their president, since 2007.
Oh, gone.
Okay.
Wow.
So they are completely in the middle of the I blame you game because of
Somebody's
the contracts that they had to inquire to keep people there. I mean, you got to think that with the talent that they had and the contracts that came up, they had to either put their money up or they were going to go.
Man, they tied up some money in some players.
They
and
did.
It really handcuffed. That's the best way I say it.
Yeah.
To franchise it. Like they were short players at one point where they couldn't even have
Yeah.
extra,
full bench.
like a full bench.
It can
was
show
like,
you
man,
though.
you really just
It can show
went
you
over.
though what a good actual management will do for your team.
right.
If you know that a guy's going to be good, don't get me wrong, you can't deny a talent like an Ovechkin or a Crosby or a McDavid, right? You got to pay those guys and keep
You
them
have
locked
to,
in.
right.
But if you lock them in for long-term deals, you're essentially hopefully lowering your annual.
See, that's
Right.
that's the
Per
issue.
year.
That's definitely the issue. They
Because if you can't, then that's what you're going to run into with Carey Price. right?
Exactly.
So Carey
Exactly.
Price is like
Same
one of
type
the
of
worst
situation.
contracts in the NHL, and nobody wants a $10 million per year goalie.
No.
Like, that's just not feasible on a team.
mediocre.
That's
No.
why the Canadians can't spend money elsewhere to provide players in front of them.
If I were him, I'd go to look. I'll take less money if we can get some more competitive players. That's what I would do.
Just
But
this year, he was named like by the players as the top goal. The players named Carey Price as the #1 goalie in the league.
there are moments
is
where
really-
he's so good.
It's
and
really
then
sad. He's stuck.
I
there
don't
in
think
Montreal.
not-
I don't think that he's the best goalie in the league.
I don't think
the
he is.
players
I
named
disagree.
him that.
He has-
the
he
people
had
who are playing
shades.
against him, and I'm not going to say I agree with that, but I did see a players poll that named Carey Price the top goalie in the
There
league.
are moments, there are flashes of what Carey Price could be.
Yeah.
But it never
He's gotta-
lasts.
that's where he's at.
Does he have any
time.
wind in his sails? I mean, how long has he been losing for now?
He's been deep in there. We're probably 12 years in now or so.
Yeah, and remember, I don't know if you remember this, but they drafted him, and he actually got booed at his draft. They wanted Brule that Columbus drafted.
Oh,
Do you
really?
remember him? He was kind of supposed to be a big deal, and at the
didn't
time
pan
they had
out.
Yarrow Halak,
Yeah.
and Halak had just gotten
To
through
the-
Pittsburgh
yeah, they-
and Washington.
Yeah, he had
with
a great playoff.
with an insufficient Canadians team,
Yeah.
and then they
remember
basically
that.
took the dice of let's get Carey Price, and we'll just ship off.
And then we got,
Then we
And
got
then
Halak.
we got Halak, and I think we traded Lars Eller, if I'm not mistaken, to Montreal.
still
that sounds
Canadian.
right. Yeah.
He was a Canadian. Yeah,
Still
He
to
went
this
the-
day is a Canadian.
Yeah.
isn't
Well,
he?
he's a Capital.
Washington Capitals.
He's
Oh,
a
he is a
Capital now,
Capital.
yeah,
but
he's
that's
playing fantastic for them this year.
yeah,
He is. He's dude. That's
yeah. So that's
and then Halak. Everyone saw that coming though, and I think it was just the fact that Montreal beat Washington. They
Yep.
were just so like amped. that
Yeah.
this guy's the next big goalie.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I think they got
He also
Matt
has-
D'Agostini. Do you remember him?
I
I'm
like
a
the
big,
Agostini.
I'm a big Dags fan, and we were
was
talking
awesome.
about this with Brian Elliott. I told you the interview, and he said Dags had one of the hardest pucks to read. I
Really?
wouldn't say he had a great shot, but there was something about it.
got that
Brian
change-up.
Elliott. It was almost like, yeah, it was hard to pick up.
Yeah.
And I think
D'Agostini
Dags
was
went in-
good. I liked
Yeah.
him.
I
I
liked
thought
him. He
that
was hard. He's a
he,
hard player.
Yeah.
he was always one of those guys too that you saw like I think during preseason games
Yeah.
like come up and his name would be all over the score sheet and you're
Right.
like who in the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And the season would start and you would never see him.
Hard
I-
player. He
I
Then he
actually-
gets called up and he actually gets score some points for us.
Next show, I've got his Calder Cup champions jersey when he was with the Hamilton Bulldogs.
Is that right?
When they won the Calder Cup
I'll be
when he was
damned.
on Montreal.
Next show,
So
spoiler alert.
I will bring
sick
that one
jersey.
on. It's a sick jersey. It's very
Mark,
cool. So
jersey
we'll rock
alert.
old Dags.
We're
Old-time sick.
Thursday. It's a couple days away. You know,
know.
we'll be all right. You
We'll
bring
do
that
it.
in. I want
I'll
to
make
see
sure.
it for sure.
I'll make sure.
We'll get
that
through. We'll
jersey's
get through a
sick.
majority of your jersey collection.
Yeah,
and
we'll
you'll have
get
to
through
shout
those.
out like the game worn ones. You
There's a
you
lot.
wear
I haven't
those?
even gotten to one of those yet. So
Do you wear the game
da-
ones?
I will.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just sitting here, it's no big deal.
Sure.
I mean, why not?
They
So
autographed too. They just got
that
puck
Dags
marks.
one is autographed. Actually,
Okay.
it's got the
Matt
Calder
D'Agostini.
Cup like champion thing on the inside. It's pretty cool. So,
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
That's sick.
Pepsi sponsor, because they're all sponsored by random places on their jerseys. So
Speaking
Yeah,
about
I'll
the
rock
Calder
that.
Cup this year, there will be no Calder Cup.
Well,
yeah,
there.
AHL shut
The
down.
AHL
canceled.
officially today
Shut down.
canceled their entire rest of the season. No Calder Cup champion for 2020
Yeah.
for the 2019-2020 season.
That sucks, man. It sucks to have the season cut short like that. Like I'm sure
Really
that the guys coming. I mean, I'm an athlete, and if you get told like, "Hey, yeah, we're done for the rest of the season," I can only
Oh,
imagine how some of these guys are
demoralizing.
feeling right now.
Yeah, that
Right.
sucks.
You work your ass off to be a professional athlete.
Kyle, I don't even want to see what I just saw from Joe Weicker.
Yeah, I see that. It
That
says,
makes me kind of sick.
I saw a post by maybe what does it say? Chicklets said Carey Price was the best Habs goalie. Nat Wah. Thoughts? I think that's bullshit.
People love
crazy?
I'm
I
telling
think
you,
that's absolute
people
BS.
love Carey Price.
Yeah, and I think that's a joke. I think it's like more of a fandom than anything else.
Gotta be because Patrick Waugh won championship.
Champion his rookie year. Champion in '93
You mean-
when
Joe, I'll say this
Carey
for it
Price
too.
hasn't really
You
done anything.
will
No.
not find a goalie that is competitive or has the fire burning inside of him like Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh had it.
That guy
No doubt about
literally
it.
was the guy that
Still has
will
it.
He still does.
will keep the puck out for 4 periods and have a knockdown drag out fight like we talked about with
Yep.
that game was Colorado versus
Detroit.
Detroit.
Osgood and Vernon. He threw down with both of
Unbelievable.
them.
Unbelievable.
Couple times with Vernon.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
And he wasn't afraid to to fight, and I think that kind of carried over with his boy. I think he coached his boy in that minor league thing, and his kid beat the
coach.
snot out of some kid.
He was
Yeah.
beat and he beat someone up same game.
Yeah,
right?
I think
He
that,
beat the coach
I
up.
think the coach
He's a
almost got
passionate
into a
guy.
fight too. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't doubt that though. Spitting Chicklets might have said that
They
because
are.
I have
I
heard
think he
that
said it was
NH
TSN. He
TSN.
said no. He said it was not Chicklets. It was TSN.
TSN. Yeah,
sounds more-
That
that sounds more right.
They
Yeah.
love they love Carey Price, and I he's a good goalie, man. He's definitely had flashes of brilliance, but just stuck on
I wonder.
nothing team.
I'm not gonna put it all on Carey Price,
No,
but
you
you
can't.
look at the Montreal
good
Canadiens
goalie.
team and you think,
Produces fantasy
who
wise.
is the real
Put up.
players that you think of?
Show me at the end of their career.
Yeah.
Show me Carey Price's numbers next to
Patrick.
Dominic Hasek's.
Oh,
You got two
or Waugh.
goalies.
If they're comparing him to
You
Waugh,
got-
if you
if you're
say
gonna
he's
compare
better
him to
than
Patrick
Waugh,
Waugh,
let's
that's
see
what
those numbers.
That's what
put
I'll
up
say,
at you.
Joe. If that's the
I mean,
case on TSN, for saying that he was the best goalie, I mean that's crazy. You
That
can't
would-
even compare the two.
that would be my guess of them taking that shot of his last game when he gave up like 8 goals and they pulled him, and he
Oh, that was
basically
hilarious,
walked
just
past
kicking
the
the
coach
puck.
and was like, "That was my
See
last
ya."
game."
Yeah.
He was kicking. He was kick. He didn't care.
Unless
the
they
puck
got
was just
something for
flying by
Patrick
him.
Waugh,
He didn't give a crap.
I don't know why you would even. That's not even a discussion for me.
And that would like he says, it's like it's a full career thing. So Waugh was he was a Canadian and an Avalanche,
Right.
Throughout his career. Carey Price has been a career
Yeah.
Canadian.
Canadians.
Yeah.
And
So that
And they're
makes
saying
sense.
here that he says, I think the qualifications is because he played less time on the Habs versus the Avs.
If they're homers. They need to root for something. They know they're not going to win the cup. So
right,
Let's-
that is true.
Yeah.
They need some work there.
I mean, don't get me wrong, though.
For a
I mean,
storied
bad, just
franchise.
bad moves.
I still don't think a young Patrick Waugh coming up with the team that the Canadians had at that time. I still don't think that that's any question. And he's got rings and trophies talk,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure he's got some from that early Montreal Canadiens.
Rookie
pretty
year
sure
run,
that's written
right?
on the cup.
93. Yeah,
So-
when they beat the Kings in the finals in '93, he was really good.
That was all. That just being
Yeah.
a kid. I remember where I was watching that. Like
Man.
just awesome.
He was on it.
And then you got Joe saying he doesn't disagree. He was just poking the hornet's nest, chump. I like it, dude. I love the
Another-
questions.
keep
And
it
I love the
coming.
feedback for sure.
Another soulless redhead just going at it.
Absolutely.
We got 3.
Surrounded
Absolutely.
by
Three in the round.
soulless gingers, I am.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not on fire.
I'm telling you, dude.
I feel dead inside.
Do you feel it? Do you feel it? That,
Dark as that beer.
that ginger energy.
That ginger energy.
I feel it.
Yeah, negative.
I feel it. It's horrible.
Let's see what we got here. Mike Rossetti says, yeah, if there would have been glass between the bench and the crowd, maybe Wow would have remained with Montreal. LOL. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I loved him as a Canadian. Like when he was on Montreal. I mean, that was
Up till the end.
Always
I
had his
even-
cards. I always sought
yeah.
out.
Hell yeah.
I have a Waugh. It makes sense. I have a Waugh Canadians jersey.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's my
I have
guy.
a Waugh autographed picture. My
Yeah.
mom got me whenever I was young because I played goalie growing up. So like
Yeah.
Curtis Joseph, I have a Cujo. I think
Yeah.
like, actually, I think I have a Curtis Joseph and a Grant Fuhr and a Patrick Waugh all
Yeah.
autographed pictures.
Photos. Yeah.
Do people know you're
Classic
literally
Southtown
wearing
Sluggers.
Patrick Waugh
I'm
jersey
wearing
right
Patrick
now?
Waugh.
Did we even?
We didn't even
mention
address
that?
that.
This is
He's
yeah,
literally
this is the
wearing a
All-Star
Patrick
game.
Waugh All Star jersey right now.
Yeah, this was the All Star
So
game.
if anyone knows Patrick Waugh,
they did the the
They did
North
your-
American Canada,
Yeah.
wherever you were from. They did that little spiel. I wasn't.
I don't
a big
know if I was
fan.
a fan of that either.
I like
I
that.
was a Western Eastern Conference.
I agree,
guy.
100%. And even
Yeah.
now, like the All Star game's cool, but just East West, let's just do it up.
I'm for
Eastern
it.
Western.
Even the Wales and Campbell that it used to be.
The
was
orange,
cool.
the real
orange
symbol.
and black.
Oh,
those were the
man.
best.
Hey, did you guys see that the NHL commissioner was trying to propose the early draft in the NHL?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
And then the players were like,
No.
no.
I'm not doing that.
seems
Yeah.
a common narrative in all professional sports this moment. A lot of things that the owners are coming up with that the players don't agree with. Like
Right.
Yeah.
MLB, NHL,
So,
everything.
well, then that leads us into the next topic. So I don't know if you've seen the MLB, but they are proposing the 82 game season with potentially a universal DH.
I know you like that.
And then also salary rollbacks. So I like the MLB 82 game season. I like the fact that they're going to do universal DH. 'cause
That's
you
gonna
know
be
how-
fun.
I
You know how
love that.
passionate,
Fun.
you know how passionate I am
Yeah.
that both leagues need to be the same no matter what it
I
is.
love
I don't care if it's
universal
both of them having the DH spot or both of them not. It needs to be even.
Kyle,
on both
here's
sides.
a
in the
good
end.
time to test it.
That's
Get an
perfect.
82 game season. If it's not something that you think would work, then we'll go back maybe to normal. But here's a perfect chance.
That's
to
going to
take a
be
shot.
cool too
Yeah.
to see the
how it
experimental
is.
side of all
Yeah.
these leagues. That's going to be a lot of things
Very
happening. I mean,
cool.
are they going to bring the electronic umpire too? I heard they were talking about
That
that.
would be so
Maybe
I
to
think
the
I brought
minors,
that up to you.
but
I think they tried that. They tested that in the minors, and I don't know if they've gotten a big enough sample
That might not
size
be
to
good.
say
Yeah.
whether or not.
sucks for you umpires. But you
Steve
guys suck
Jones
sometimes.
says, "Have me on the show." Hey man, let me know what you want to talk about. You're on the show
Who?
right now,
Steve Jones.
but you're more than welcome to come in, man, anytime and sit in the studio as well too. If you've got some topics you want to talk about, man, just shoot me a message. But yeah, so moving along here, the 82 game MLB season I think would be a dream for all the people that hate baseball.
Yeah.
This is the comparison I'm going to make right now. I'm a baseball fan. I will watch all 9 innings. I will sit in one spot, maybe get up to go to the bathroom and get maybe a drink. But I'm not like a big. Sometimes if it's hot, I'll get up, move around because you got to. It's not really comfortable to sit next to all those people at a game, right?
Yeah.
But like, I enjoy going to a baseball game. We've talked about this too. It's the traditional thing, right? But there's those people that are out there that want to speed the game up and that are probably seeing this post and they're saying, "Oh my God, I'm loving it!" Right? 82 games. We're shortening the season.
Well, you know,
Well, that's one thing you said. There's going to be no fans.
There's going to be no fans.
No,
yet.
we're playing in front of nobody. Also,
that's going to be weird.
So they're
All year.
ultimately getting their wish.
You know what, though? It's going to make for more competitive baseball. I mean, you don't have as much time to fart around to get in the
everyone's
playoffs.
on the
Better-
same
True.
You
Now,
got
of course,
field
40
advantage.
games.
Doesn't matter. You're playing in front of nobody.
40 games, you got to be ready to go. Those
Now,
40
there-
games, the last 40 are going to be, all good, probably, because you're going to have
now
to.
I read an
compete to get in.
article. I read an article as well too that there was somebody that came out, no one like actually like from the World Health Organization or this or that, but an actual physician that came out that said with people wearing masks and whatnot, that there's a potential chance that you could have a baseball game or a social event such as that capacity if people
wearing
practice
masks.
with safe measures. So I would say that we're not completely out of the story of saying, hey, we're not going to have fans at some of these things. Now, right
it
away,
might
yes.
happen.
Not
Right
right,
away.
away. If
Not
it
right
starts
away.
in July, like they say, like July 4th of July weekend or whatever they're saying, like summer or spring break for a couple weeks in June, and then start up in 4th of July. Like
I think people would be happy enough in general if just sports would just
Just
start
to
back up,
see
just
it.
to
Right.
see it on TV, right?
just watch
but
it.
then how do you think that they would maybe even do half capacity at stadiums, allowing
I'm
people to
thinking
sit
that-
further apart?
I'm thinking
and
that
then
could be a
have that?
possibility. And
So,
I think that's why it's not till July. Because
mandated that you have
still
to
don't
sit
know
in your seat.
everything.
Maybe if it's better,
Mandated
can do
you have
this
to sit
half
in your seat.
capacity and make some money at least. While the Cardinals are going to
Something.
make money because people want to get back.
Yeah.
Cardinal fans are going to show up. It doesn't really
What's it
matter.
going to do to like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Cardinal
Tampa
fans
Bay?
have that
What's it going to
following.
do to the Tampa Bay Rays?
There's
You know,
enough
it's
tradition.
going to hurt team. A lot of teams are going to get hurt by that.
They are
by
gonna
this
be
for
hurt.
sure. They already
Tampa-
have no fans like
so,
this.
so the problem with Tampa Bay is though, and I can tell you this because I do vacation every year in St. Pete. That's where they play out of. I mean, actually, it's very close to Tampa, but it's actually
Right.
in St. Petersburg. The one thing that I'll say is that their stadium is a minor league stadium at best. The roof on the stadium, and when you're
it's
approaching it in
atrocious.
Tropicana Field, if it's still named that, is literally one of the smallest and the rattiest stadiums
it
that I've
looks
ever been
like
to.
the New Orleans Stadium after Hurricane Katrina hit it.
It was, and
Only all the time.
It's sad because
Right.
you have players that are playing at a professional level that are literally playing in there as a home field. Now, it is a travel state, right? You have a lot
Yeah.
of people that come in, so there's more often than not more people in the stadium for the opposing team than Tampa Bay. So they already have it as a kind of a bad hand dealt to them as is.
Yeah,
Now they've talked about, I think, moving the stadium. They need an actual stadium, but they need an indoor stadium.
I agree.
It rains way too much in Florida. You would not be able to fit in a
Or
game.
do retractable.
Yeah.
If
Something.
you're not building a stadium with a retractable roof, I understand it's very much more expensive. But
Right.
these days, and I understand rainouts are all that's a part of the game,
Right.
But if you're in Florida, like you're gonna
But
have
the
to have
life
a
of the-
retractable roof or something like that.
Of the domes is gone. I mean, the
It is.
Metrodome's
Domes are-
gone.
they're
The
disappearing. The
Kingdome's gone.
Astrodome.
The
Yeah.
Astrodome's
They're all
gone.
gone.
They need to do something else there and just get rid of it. I know the money's not there.
And
but
there's a city fight too, I believe. They're
There's-
trying to move to a
I
new
think they
city
try,
too,
yeah.
but the
Yeah.
city doesn't want them coming, or the city they're in doesn't want them leaving, or there's just
that's a tough
as a
mess.
city that has a baseball following, I don't know how you couldn't want the Tampa Bay Rays
them succeed.
to come to your city.
Right.
If you support them, they have good players. I mean, Tommy Pham's turned into a hell of a player.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're
he
all-
is. He-
Sucks
I mean,
to
they have
lose him.
and they have a team. They remind me of kind of like the St. Louis Blues of the major leagues.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of really good guys quality that play good as a team.
Yeah.
And when you have that kind of cohesiveness between individuals, you start to see wins, and that's what translated in the American League,
for sure.
which there's not slouches in their division.
They have really good young ownership too, and I think,
do.
and then every year they build a really good team. They're kind of like they remind him a little bit of the Marlins
Right.
when they first came in.
Right.
They were winning, except they don't win actual championships, but
Right.
they got young ownership. They bring the good guys in. They spend money. They're not afraid to do it, and
Yeah.
just falls short. I love the Rays for some reason. I love the
they're
Longoria,
like my
the
team
PJ
away.
Upton Longoria days. Like those were
Don't forget Carl Crawford.
Carl
stealing
Crawford. Yeah.
5 bases an inning. Like
Yeah, Carl
those were-
Crawford. Those were fantasy days. That
When they
you're
made it
talking
to
about
when
there.
they made it to the World Series, or they might have lost.
I think they
the round
lost
before.
in the final, like in the American League championship.
But they just had. I mean, I was so. Was that the year that Longoria hit the home run in Game 163?
I think so.
Just like an exhilarating moment, last inning home run, walk off Game 163. Like
Absolutely.
you're tied going.
tough that's got to be though.
Crazy.
I mean, as an athlete, Tommy Pham, you leave St. Louis
Yeah.
and you go to a place, and I think he actually mentioned this where no one, not that they don't care, but
It's much different.
it's not gonna. This is a baseball town. As much as I love our Blues, and we love our Blues, but we know it's baseball first here. Even though hockey is,
Now that we've got
Moving
the
up.
Stanley Cup,
it helps a lot.
it helps out a lot.
needed that.
But you're right. No,
It's
we're a baseball city.
You're gonna draw 40,000 on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night, and
Right.
that's how it is in St. Louis. And when you go to a place like Tampa Bay, and you're drawing 9,000,
I'll
that's
note this.
tough to
Much
go out there
different.
and compete.
Note this that whenever I was there in July of this past year, a friend of mine, Aaron Tapey, and his boy Cam, we went to a game and they were actually like giving tickets away almost. They were like $10 a piece, and we were sitting in the outfield, like right in the bleachers. And I mean, we had some balls that came close.
Next
I think
to
it was
the
a
park golf
Baltimore versus Tampa game, so it was
Yeah.
kind of a we had to
That's a
pick.
stinker.
That's
we had
a
to-
rough
we had,
one
we had to
right
pick
there.
a game that we
That's
could
a
make.
rough one.
Right, we had to pick
Yeah.
a game we could make, and it was kind of a last second thing. But I had a good time.
$10 to see
my
a
buddy
Major League
Greg,
Baseball game.
Greg from Georgia came as well too. Greg Photos. So we had a good time with it, even though it's the atmosphere is mostly the opposing team's fans.
Yeah.
You can find a way to enjoy it, like just being with friends and having a good time, or having a beer or something, and you know, eating the nachos or eating some peanuts and whatnot.
It's like
during
the
a game.
casino for me personally. I hate the casino and the idea of the casino, but I just like going there and seeing
And
the
hanging
lights
out,
and
seeing the people.
sitting back
A
and
lot of
seeing the
flashing
people
lights and
and
stuff. People watch.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's like
They've
it's
got
like a
booze
professional
there.
Right.
You
But
know?
as an athlete, though, at some point, you kind of like, that's probably why they lose players, too. I mean, if I was playing, I wouldn't want to play in front of 9,000 people.
No, absolutely not.
And that
Well, how
just
about
sucks.
zero?
well, and that's
Zero's
and-
bad.
but that's also why.
But we know why that is. We're
There's a
drawing
pandemic.
9,000 because
Right.
That's on a
the
regular
9,000 want to go to the game.
you also have
their
like,
their whole bleachers is just tarp.
look
Yeah.
at the money that the players you named a minute ago: Carl Crawford, Evan Longoria,
Those
Big
guys had
contract.
and
stupid
BJ
money.
Upton.
You know,
Think of the money those guys would have made elsewhere if they would have been playing, and then they weren't under contract for 5 to 7 years with Tampa for some reason. You know,
And I'm a
I
huge,
love Longo. Like
Yeah,
he was like one of
he's
my
good.
favorite players growing up.
He was
love that.
great
Dude.
there,
Have his
babe.
jersey.
or I shouldn't
Yeah.
say growing
I'll wear
up,
it
but
next
like
year.
I, as early, I always drafted him in fantasy.
Love
Anybody that's
Love
watching that
Adam
did fantasy
Longoria.
with me can always vouch for that. Like I always draft up to this
Yeah.
last year or so,
Yeah.
which I don't really do baseball
Baseball.
fantasy anymore. It's just
so-
too
it's
long.
tough.
Yeah, it's long.
Hey,
It's
now with
tough.
82,
Right.
82 games,
82
and
games
universal
could make it a
DH,
little more exciting.
I might be back in
Might be more
fantasy baseball
fantasy
this year,
baseball
boys and
players.
girls.
But I'm a huge Indians fan, and you think
I like
they,
the Indians too.
they played
They're my
in the-
pick. They're my sleeper pick this year.
They played at Municipal Stadium, and to think they played in front of 12,000 fans at a 72,000 person stadium.
That's another. Yeah, it's another.
It's like, what do you do?
wild.
Like, how hard is that? I mean, you can't even. It's like you could hear people yelling in the crowd.
Right.
It's just like, thank God they moved and they got those good Indian teams came in
Right.
the mid '90s.
Right.
Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, Kenny Lofton. They just put
oh yeah.
a team together quick, and
They did.
it was they were a fun team to watch. That was an offensive powerhouse. The old mid '90s Cleveland Indians.
Yeah,
So
no, it definitely
they
was.
were fun.
Was that one of the
Definitely
Marlins World Series against the
The
Cleveland?
Marlins, Edgar
Marlins.
Renteria with a base hit up Jose Mesa
Edgar
up the
Renteria.
middle.
Jose
I'll never
Mesa.
forget it. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think someone called a different pitch. Like the coach actually wanted a different
Mesa
pitch
threw
from
something.
Mesa. And
Mesa was a
like,
head case.
I'm a closer. I should be able to throw whatever I want to throw. And,
he
he's like,
threw,
you know
a
what?
Slider that hung.
Fine,
and-
throw it.
Sorry.
And then he base hit.
Listen to your coaches, kids.
Yep.
So we were talking about this earlier, and I think it's something we could just dabble on real quick. Salaries in professional sports, how ridiculous they are, right? So we were talking about that, and it's not like that these players aren't worth the money, 'cause
Right.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's such a balance that's off throughout professional sports in general. Now you can always wait out as that says, oh, well, these guys play a physicality or a sport that's this physical, so they deserve to get paid X amount of money. And then you say these guys play in this, they deserve X amount of money. I think that you have underpaid
Right.
players. There it is. Put the L in the wrong spot. I think you have that in the NHL. And I think that the NHL salary cap is a joke.
Joe.
And I think
Yep.
that the way that the game has changed, maybe the game is not as profitable enough to where they can't grant these salaries of going up and whatnot.
Right.
But if you look at like the NFL or NBA salaries compared to an NHL player's
Oh,
salary,
it's crazy.
it's depressing. And you're wondering why some of these guys have to do some pretty serious endeavors once they get outside of the sport, and for what they pour their blood, sweat, and tears into. You ask yourself, like, is it worth it, right?
Right.
And the thing that immediately pops up for me is, and I just use this as an example, is that Pat Maroon, right?
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger. And the whole decision of him and what the Blues had to do of where that they were wanting to take the team and him going to Tampa Bay this past year, right? It's a business.
Right.
You have to know what your value is, and you cannot sell yourself short.
The weekly Pat Maroon shout out, by the way.
Yes,
But you're right. Like
one more
a
time, Pat.
player
We
like
love
that, I mean,
Would
those
love
are,
to have seen him stay.
those are the grinders too, man. Those are the guys that get their ass beat like
Right.
every game after game. They're going to the front of the net. He's fighting for those pucks. He's fighting for the goals. He fights the hardest out of any player on the team, and he makes
So let me throw this-
$1.1 million, maybe
look this up for me,
900,000.
Yeah.
What is can you give me a salary per year annual for Kelly Chase or a Tony Twist? I'm just
People like
curious.
that.
Okay.
You know?
You know,
they gave their
that's
heart and soul to their teams.
Because in the grand scheme
They're
of things,
suffering.
you have
later in the
players that are going to go out
CT.
there that are going to fight, that are going to drop the gloves, that are going to be your enforcer, they're going to stick
their
up for your
job.
guys. And then you have basically salaries that are so minuscule that whenever these guys could have, the brain CTE,
It's real, man.
they could have that when they're done playing this sport. It's a risk. Now you take the football side of things and like, well, they're trying to take the helmet to helmet out and this and that, which football's
You can't.
football. All right. I'm sorry. Like, they need to
All
take
the way.
I get the tracking thing, and I get that they can make the sport a little bit safer. I'm for that. But you're going to have some helmet to helmet here and there. You just got to try to minimize it as much as you can.
They've
It's a
definitely
dangerous
cut
sport.
down on that because it doesn't
Yeah.
happen as often. But still, like it's a dangerous sport, Kyle. I mean,
Starting salary
It is
for Kelly Chase,
Kelly
when he
Chase.
first got in the league. He's making $85,000 a year.
$85,000 a
In-
year. Kelly Chase started off in the league.
In today's game, that would be about $175K.
still under the league men. Sure.
So do me a favor. When he was at the peak of his career, what was the most money that he made per year annually?
$500K.
$500,000. He could have went to boxing
Yep.
and probably made more money
Yeah,
at the time.
probably a mil.
In the
Well,
90s.
back in the 90s, maybe not that much, but
You know what, though? If you ask
$1
Kelly
million
Chase,
He
it
would
was
do it
worth
all over again.
every minute,
You know,
every dollar, whatever he did. Kelly Chase, and he loved that
He
role.
did.
Another
and
guy.
I'm,
He loved
I'm
it.
using that as an example, obviously.
That's great.
But
Yeah.
this just shows you like what people do for their teams.
Yep.
That is so underrated that that these guys aren't getting paid for doing it.
is a goal not even back in the day when hockey was like there was more fighting, but is a goal not as exciting as a fight?
I mean,
Do you get the same? You might have take the lead or not. which,
energy levels and stuff.
ultimately matters, but like, does that fight not just amplify
it totally gets you up.
the
It totally gets
rink,
you going.
the team, everything on your side? You win that fight, man. That's
Yeah.
They're
It's a huge thing.
donating their blood, sweat, and tears to it. So, like, to me, like, it's crazy that you have a guy like, let's say Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So we'll talk about
Man,
a
he got a
guy.
lot of money.
Okay, we'll talk about a highly touted guy that comes from Oklahoma, right? That you're thinking, oh man, this guy could be an actual pretty good quarterback in the league, right? And
Right.
and he gets paid guaranteed. What was it, $50 million for like? And what was his rookie career? Is it rookie contract when he came in?
It
was so
was
highly
insane.
touted. I don't
I'll
even-
look it up right now.
It was such a high average. If you
Little
look
too
at
much.
that, like literally, I want to say Sam Bradford's starting like rookie signing bonus probably could have paid the salaries of at least 20, maybe more enforcers in the NHL.
He made $14 million his first year.
$14 million his first year.
2014.
And look what he did for his team.
so. Is this still?
So do you see what I'm saying
So we're
here?
still at the contract talk right now.
The salaries aspect of it is just, it blows my mind of how how does it change from sport to sport, right? You have baseball too, which is another anomaly to me. It's like you
baseball's
have,
gotten out of control.
I mean,
$400 million contracts being handed out.
You also-
I mean, Mike Trout's a great player, but like Bryce Harper he's
Bryce Harper's trash, by the
not.
way.
He got $350.
For those of you out here that like
million
Bryce
dollars.
Harper, I'm sorry. This is not a Bryce Harper show.
Thank you.
We're gonna
I'm
rule
glad-
that.
I'm glad I
Bryce
hit that
Harper's
nerve.
trash.
We're gonna nip that right in the butt right
Just
off the
for him to
beginning.
be the second highest
I-
player in baseball for what he's done is not.
I can't be
What is
happier.
going on?
Okay, I can't be happier that he decided to take big payday and that he
Philly.
went to Philly, and then the year that he leaves, his team that he left finally wins the World Series.
I mix
Like that is like
I
my
actually-
favorite like anomaly like that
It's
happened.
perfect.
It happened
I
to
love
Hossa
that.
too when he left
I love
Chicago
that.
or Detroit.
You know what? I bought a
Poor
Penguins
guy, but he's a good guy.
Stanley Cup champions hat just because of the fact when he left to go to Detroit. I'm like, I'm going to get a Penguins hat if they beat him.
Yeah,
Just
he
to
went
shit on
from
you.
Pittsburgh to Detroit, and
Yep,
then Pittsburgh
because he wanted to win.
Yeah.
And then he lost.
Different story because Hossa seems like a class act guy. Bryce Harper's such a whiny
Right,
done nothing.
I
Like
know.
you got the second highest contract. So yeah, baseball contracts are so inflated. It's ridiculous.
So, Kyle, it was actually 3.2 in 2010. So I mixed this up a little bit for Sam
This
Bradford.
is Sam Bradford.
12.4.
So he had to
million.
get past that rookie year.
15.5. 12.5.
Already too much.
17.6. That was while he was the Ram.
Oh, it only
Hey,
went up.
look up his signing bonus.
That might.
20.
It's going to make me sick.
Look up his signing bonus.
Yeah,
of
because
whenever
that
he
rookie
signed
year
his
he got
actual
paid
rookie
little,
year.
but
you're gonna see
that signing
exactly what he
bonus
did.
made
For
up
sure.
He made over 65 million as a Ram, just as a Ram.
Crazy. Hey, Joe
And Kelly
Weicker throws
Chase
this
made
out really
a few
quick.
mil.
First round, first.
Joe
overall.
Weicker says everybody hates on Marchand, but he had a great take on escrow and what they're going to have to pay back in the beginning of next season. I mean, can you let that guy go anywhere? He's phenomenal. I
Yeah.
mean, I
You hate
think
Marchand.
Say what
but
you want about Marchand,
him on
but he
your
is what he
team.
is.
yeah,
He's a
Mar-
Bruin.
He's
like,
he's a Reggie Miller. He's a guy that's going
Right.
to produce for you. He's a guy that's
he's a meta world peace.
He did have his moment where it was kind of like, all right, he was dirty. He took some shots
He
at
does.
people.
He does. You got to stop that.
I haven't seen him do that recently.
No, he's just an agitator.
But the fact that he's putting up 60 plus assists
And
and,
scoring.
scoring goals, it
Right.
makes him an asset to any team. And I think that you're going to see him probably get paid.
You want to hate
a
on
lot.
Marchand a lot, but dude, you can't deny
Dude,
what
I
that
love
fool has done.
agitators. I'm a Steve Ott guy. I mean, Steve Ott. was-
Steve Ott. I'm a
He was
Tyson
the-
Nash guy. Let's go back a
Yeah,
little bit farther.
let's Tyson Nash. Let's be the epitome of what you hate.
You want that
Tyson-
on your team. You hate
Tyson
that when you're
Nash
playing
wanted
against them.
Everyone's screaming at
Let
him.
me let me
That's
throw
the
this out.
fastest
We
guy
have
in
an
the
awesome-
league.
Yeah,
those years,
he's
too.
so
Like,
funny too. Actually, Tyson Nash.
He's a
We
Phoenix
have an
Coyotes,
awesome comment here.
Arizona Coyotes.
Elaine, I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope all is well. Thank you for tuning in. It says baseball has the advantage of being viewed as our national pastime.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
And you have the NFL basically as a massive marketing master as well too.
Huge.
Right? So they're going to. What she's saying is that they get more people in their seats, and the more ratings and
Bigger
the more
stadiums.
players make more money. So
Like-
yes, I get
That
that.
makes
That's
sense.
100% true.
and I understand that it comes down to the way that they're marketing it. But
Correct.
I look at it as from an athlete's perspective, as far as what you're putting out there in a day in and day out.
You're
right?
playing football with knives on your feet on a slab of ice.
Yes.
When it comes to hockey, and like we talked about earlier too, like ESPN, the way it's marketed, like you watch ESPN, you don't see hockey anymore.
No.
You see a crap load of basketball. You see a crap load of football.
Doesn't
you
that
see a
suck?
segment of baseball. You see zero hockey.
I hate
And-
that there's no hockey on ESPN.
I mean-
I hate it. I used to love National Hockey
Me
Night.
too, dude.
Gary
Wednesday
Bettman.
night hockey,
Yeah.
like.
No,
Like
it
I
was
was
good.
saying, hearing the old ESPN theme song, then
Oh.
when like that reminds me of like even turn it on Sega and having
Yeah.
the ESPN Wednesday night
Yeah.
hockey.
I
Like,
still
that just-
have that game,
Dude.
National Hockey Night.
like that
on-
is old
for
school.
Sega.
That just
That's
makes
awesome.
me happy.
Those
It's a
were the good
throwback.
old days, man.
It's a
For
throwback.
sure. And
I
it
miss
sucks
that.
that's the thing. It's just they market it's everything football,
Yep.
basketball.
Right.
That's all we're gonna shove in your face.
Kevin Miller says Pat Verbeek, little ball of hate. He was a madman.
Pat Verbeek was a
There's
great
a
player.
throwback.
Yes.
And almost
good
always
call
an
out, Kevin.
all-star that you never really noticed, but he was
Yeah.
always an all-star.
Yeah,
Verbeek,
you heard
dude.
his name.
Didn't help being in Hartford. There wasn't a whole lot there besides Ron Francis.
Sick
Pat Verbeek.
jerseys.
Right.
Sick jerseys, cool logo. Not the greatest team.
Right.
I think they only had
100%.
That's
they had
a
like
throwback.
5 winning seasons in 20-something years. That just, I hate that they left. But
And that's where we got Pronger from, and then that's where Chase and Shanahan went to, I believe.
Yep.
I never forget seeing Chase go. It was sad to see Shanahan go. We talked about this earlier too.
Yeah.
But then seeing Chase there in his press conference, I'll never forget when I was a kid, seeing him cry.
that was like straight emotion.
he cried like he did not want to leave here, man.
No.
Like another just
That's
great
sad.
memory
No.
of Kelly
Yeah.
Chase.
Yeah.
Like
Gotta
It
love
is.
Kelly Chase.
Yeah,
You just have
Elaine.
to.
Elaine throws out. She agrees 100%. She says, but unfortunately, if you're not generating as much money, you
not
can't
gonna get
afford to
paid
pay
as
your
much.
players more. I agree. It's
all about that dollar.
It's all about the money at the end of the day, and that's the sad thing about it
We
is
just got
that
hockey fans here, so we're trying to justify why our hockey
Right.
players need to be paid more.
right.
you
know,
see it
but
happen. These
but
guys,
that's-
they all get bashed around. But
Right.
the what point we're trying to make is like baseball is a tough sport, but it's definitely non-contact.
Yeah.
And these
Right.
guys get paid $400 million
A lot of money,
over
Let me
man.
use an
10
example.
years in
money.
hockey players.
Let me use an example here too. And this is, I think, the one that gets to me the most in baseball is you have a guy that's a relief pitcher. Okay, maybe he's a lefty specialist.
Let's
and
do
he's-
Andrew Miller.
Hey, let's go to Andrew
One
Miller.
hitter.
What do we
They
got
might
to
come
come
in and get one hitter.
$20-something million for 1 year? Look that up.
I'm gonna look
You have
him
a
up
guy
right
that
now.
literally comes in that might throw.
Eighth inning, two outs maybe.
Granted, they might be important pitches,
Sure.
but you got a guy that's getting paid $25 million a year to maybe come in. That's just that to me is the unbalance of some of the contracts that you have in baseball. But obviously, players and agents mostly
That
are the
Scott
ones
Boras
that
is
are drawing their prices up.
is a beast.
Right?
He's making $9 million this
yeah.
year
So $9 million
for a
For maybe getting
lefty
an out
specialist.
or two.
great
Five
player.
outs
I
a
love
week.
Andrew Miller,
Great.
but
He has been great in his career. He's also
Yeah.
we've got
Great
him on
player.
his downswing.
nasty in Cleveland when they went on that deep
Sick.
run.
Right. So you can't take away from the actual talent that he has, but he's at the latter part of his career.
Yeah, we got him at he had an injury in Cleveland, and
And
that's after he came to us.
Correct.
We got him post injury, and he just hasn't really been the same since.
No,
that
he
happened.
hasn't.
Right. He also what was it?
34 years old. He's making $9 million a year as a lefty specialist out of the bullpen.
Yeah, when he struggled when he came to us. He had an issue with basically getting balls in the strike zone.
Yeah, he got wild.
And I mean, granted, I know he's got a great history, but that's one of those guys where it's like, what in the hell are we paying for here? You know? See, John Nessel says, did you guys already mention this? Do we think Yadi will walk if the non-loyal clubhouse does not give him his worth?
I think he
we did
does.
talk about
we had
this.
a good talk about that.
We
actually.
did, yeah. That was last episode that we talked about that.
I think,
John, I will tell you that
couple.
I don't think that you're going to see Yadi go. I think that he was originally planning on saying, hey, I got 2 more years. Let's sign this contract. And then he's going to retire. But then with the whole COVID thing and now this season being shortened, I think that it's kind of changed his mind and he wants to continue to play baseball while he can. So I don't think that the Cardinals are going to let him walk. I don't think that we have a non-loyal clubhouse. If you look at contracts like Matt Carpenter, I can tell you that I think we have a loyal clubhouse.
Loyal.
And I think that it
The way
will
we
be
keep our youngsters is just shows
Yeah.
you how loyal we
yeah.
are.
We're very I'd say we're very strict about the ways that we move our players and how we move them. And I think that if you are looking back to even when we were upset or some people were upset about oh my gosh, we lost Albert Pujols, right? You wouldn't have some of the players like a Goldschmidt and some of these other guys now, and you would still have a Pujols who has, plantar fasciitis and can barely even run the bases anymore. So
He can barely play first base.
And
So, I
that's-
mean, in the
yeah.
National League,
was I upset?
that's a big deal.
He's a DH, so
Was
it's
I
kind of
upset?
universal DH.
we can't have you pinch hit for $20 million a year. That ain't going to work.
We were
Right.
all upset. Let's be honest.
Was
with
I
you.
upset
But
when it happened? Yeah.
then you think about it.
But now you look at it and you're like, wow, I'm glad that someone else makes those decisions besides me.
Does it feel good that he's only played in one wild card playoff game his whole career?
Well, look, the Angels.
LA.
Come on,
It
they've
helps
got
a little bit.
They've.
That's what John
They got Trout,
John
dude.
says. He guessed he was talking about
the
Albert.
pitching's
That's why he
just
was sour.
not better than
I get
Houston.
that, John. I get that.
Can't beat the Astros.
So
I mean,
and
the
then
pitching.
my thought of it is Jimmy Tracy.
Jimmy Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Running late, but
Oh, yeah.
still here, buddy.
My
Thanks for tuning in.
thought
Yes.
is I do just the Cardinals might be loyal, but Yachty is no nonsense, man. You mess with him and he's
Yep.
gonna. He will.
do it
I
the
think
right
he'll walk.
way.
You
But
do it
they're
the right
not-
way, and I don't think there's no reason to not do it the right way. This
I don't
dude
know
is
why you
he's
wouldn't.
he's a Hall of Famer. I hear
So-
people argue the fact he might not be. I think he's a no doubt Hall of Famer, and
I
do it the
gotta,
right way.
I got to throw this out there. Besides the fact that he's a Hall of Famer, people in St. Louis love the guy to death.
Yep.
He has to make those comments because he has to show the
Hardball.
upper management how serious he is about wanting to play.
Sure.
So that way, whenever this season is over and this is the second year of his 2-year contract that he signed, because this was going to be like his kind of like on his way out.
Yeah.
Season.
Yeah.
You would be crazy to think that they're going to allow anyone else to play catcher besides Yadi, considering the fact he's still as dangerous with the bat, and he still
throw your ass out.
is one of the best, if not the best, defensive catchers in the Major League Baseball.
pick
Shit,
your
he-
ass on first base still if you're not paying attention.
He still runs the bases maybe better than some of the guys. I mean,
Smarter.
he's kind of a smart
Smarter.
runner.
He learned that from Albert.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah,
Albert
Albert.
would
I think he
steal a
taught him
base from
how to
him.
hit too, honestly, before
Yeah.
he left, because Yachty was never the best hitter until.
No, but he's learned to kind
Albert
of
worked with
adapt
him.
his swing when if he's just going to stick a ball out the right field. Yachty can do that very easily, and I think he's really changed the way he started hitting when he first came up because he was just a great
No doubt.
catcher, but he became kind of a threat. So
I think the fact that maybe Albert left too made him want to. the Cardinals, you can't deny the organization they've been
Yep.
for year after year after year. And I mean, he might have seen that, how people reacted to that. And now's his chance to be the Stan Musial of the Cardinals.
Right.
Love
The
to
new
win
age
one
Stan
with
Musial,
Yachty
you know?
being our captain, because Yachty's our
Would love
captain
to.
now.
Right.
And Adam. I'd say those are our captains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now.
Wainwright
So
is. He's the man. I'm glad we brought him back.
I'm glad he
deserves
really,
it, man.
Competitor.
really stuck it to people. in
And
the
like we said,
playoffs.
that's
did.
loyalty right
I'm-
there.
But are we going to see that, though? Are we going to see the same thing from a Wainwright?
He's a
this year on
competitor.
that? He is.
So I'll give him a shot.
Yeah, John Nesselhoff says, so do we have a stud at all for catching prospects? Yeah, he got traded to Arizona during that.
Carson Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got traded to Arizona during the Goldschmidt move. So,
Yeah.
no, we don't.
Not anymore.
don't.
We do have Matt Wieters, switch hitting veteran, who is
Also
still
Solid
young
twilight
enough
twilight of
to-
his career.
Solid backup though.
Yeah,
Solid
very
He's not
solid.
he's not a bad backup.
I always
And he can
wanted
hit.
him in fantasy.
Yeah, I don't
He
have
was
any
killing it there in
problems. I don't have any
Baltimore.
problems with him there.
Do you remember the Nick Markakis
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
Adam Jones
Dude,
and
he-
Matt Wieters? They were hitting in Baltimore.
doubt.
What a
Yeah.
fun team to watch.
They
and
were
then
really
a couple
good.
trades, and then they're like the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, it's
Probably
it
management there, man.
Comes to money too. You know,
It does.
It happens with Cleveland a lot, where you're not going to pay you're not going to be able to.
Well, those guys,
Someone
didn't they have
will,
some
though.
pitching prospects too that came up right at that time?
Yeah,
They were having
trying
a
to
hard
think of
time
who they're-
keeping all of them together. Baltimore had,
Dylan Bundy.
Dylan Bundy was really good.
and there
at
was
one
another
point.
guy that they had that got hurt that was supposed to be like
They get
unbelievable.
Were they the Mark Appel? Did they
had-
draft Mark Appel?
They had a great closer at one point too, Zach Britton. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Amazing.
I don't
He's in
remember-
New York now,
He got
I
hurt.
believe.
Yeah, Britton's
He
going
got
on.
hurt too, man. He had some, you know.
Yeah,
I
he
really
did.
liked Adam Jones. He was
Baltimore
my type
still,
of guy.
even last year, they do have some, like Chris Davis, like he hits a home run or he strikes out. I mean, but they got some good players still, dude. Jonathan Villar. I don't know if they made trades or anything, but they got a couple good players there.
Well, anybody
they
that
are
they had
getting
that was
dumpster
good.
fire though.
Got to be getting some good young players
You would
over the
think
last
they're
couple of
getting
years.
good
You got to
draft
hope
picks for
something
sure.
That
somebody
shows
comes up.
That's going to show your managers that you have and your front end and your draft class.
Yeah.
You know, because if you, it means all the world to have the draft picks, but if you're not making good picks, then
Right.
you know you're not going to have
waste.
it happen.
Right.
You know.
Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, not a shot, but man, how many number one picks?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yakupov?
So actually,
They
since
probably don't even want to hear that name.
let's talk about this then real quick. So one of the topics that I was really kind of antsy to talk about tonight was there was an article on ESPN that talks about they actually put together the 3 best lines
Oh, this is fun.
for the NHL teams, for all of the teams. Okay. And as far as that goes, they have basically some things I agree with, some things that I disagree with. But we wanted to take some time, maybe talk about maybe a couple teams in each side, and then see what you guys think as far as who you think might be on their top lines overall list, or maybe they're on this list, maybe they're not. But I will tell you, I looked at a couple of them and I didn't agree with them. Mark, I was kind of like, man, that's off for me.
I know what Kyle likes is this best current line for the Florida Panthers.
Let's hear it.
Huberdeau, Barkov, and Dadanoff.
Yes. The format of this, they're going to have the best line, the cult classic, and then the best current line. Okay. So we're going to wait for Nick to come back in
Yeah.
here and go. But like while we're waiting, anybody
lot
in
of
the
fun.
chat, if you have any teams that you want to hear of who their top line was overall, or any of these, or maybe you just hear who we think would have been our choice for that. Go ahead and throw in the comments of what team that you would like to hear, and then we'll go over a couple of them. We're obviously going to go over the Blues, but let us know in the comment section of a team if you want to hear
Man.
their best line of overall.
There are some good ones.
There are.
And that goes back to NHL Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey with the 3-on-3.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you saw some of the lines and you're like, wow.
Right.
Flyers, Rangers had good lines, you know, where it was just
One of
three
my
guys.
favorite lines was Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Lindros, Leclerc, Recchi, you can't get any
Yep.
better than that. I was a huge
Yep.
Eric Lindros fan. I had posters on my wall when I was a kid.
It's a
He was
big
just
deal,
a big
man.
power. Unfortunately, a guy that got his career shortened from
Bell rung a few times.
Bell
yeah,
rung.
from the
I was number 88
concussions.
Number
because of
88.
him.
Yeah,
In
No
my,
doubt.
in my
Big deal,
roller
man.
hockey days.
yeah, no doubt.
It was a
Love
lot of
Eric
fun.
So let's get it kicked off here. So I'm going to start off. Let's just go straight to the Blues. Let's just kick off with
yeah.
the Blues
Let's do it.
because I disagree with some of these. I'm not going to lie. The starting off the best line that they have. Okay.
Currently,
In the,
Nope, just best
in the
line
history
overall.
of the
line
Blues.
ever.
Best line overall. Then we're going to go to the Cult Classic, and then we're going to go to the best current line because I disagree with all of them. I'm not
Hold
going to
on.
lie to you.
I just saw the line.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know really what to think.
I know.
After the,
So
The best
ESPN
line
says
yeah.
ESPN says that
This
the
is also
best
ESPN. Who
line,
doesn't show
okay,
NHL anymore.
for the St. Louis Blues would consist of at left wing Sergio Momesso, and then you would have at center Adam Oates, and then of course on right wing Brett Hull.
Then you got Hall and Oates.
I mean, Hull and Oates, I can't deny that,
But-
one bit.
It says they had Jeff Courtnall there initially, which would have made that line a little bit
would have made better.
quite better.
It
I
would have
feel
been much
like.
better.
I think so too.
But-
Sergio
Sergio-
Momesso is like maybe in the new form of NHL, the physicality. It's like
Sergio
putting
Momesso was
a
out
Tom
there-
Wilson
That's the
out
thing.
there with them.
Like
there to protect
Wilson
Hall.
plays
Yeah.
with Ovechkin and Backstrom, and he produces too. So I don't. This is going back to my deep childhood. I
Right.
guess Momesso might have produced.
Maybe I don't
No, he
recall
didn't really.
Momesso
He
really
didn't really.
being a.
No.
I remember him in Vancouver. I don't remember him too much in the Blues, but he is in the top best line according to ESPN.
Right. Now we have the Colt Classic best line would be the David Perron at left wing, Patrick Berglund at center, and TJ Oshie at right wing. Who in the hell wrote this article?
Here's where this
Somebody
goes
who
back
doesn't
to.
pay attention to hockey.
ESPN doesn't have hockey anymore,
They don't
and
know about hockey.
this is screaming that they don't.
Right.
They just
This is
Googled
depressing.
recent stuff.
Carl, we will absolutely do the Avalanche next.
Oh,
that would be,
cool.
that would be
That's
the
a
next
good
team.
one.
Thank you for chiming in.
That is
if
actually
anybody
a
else
good
has another team that they would like us to do, go ahead and throw one out there as well. I'm going to throw this out there. Okay, so as far as the best line overall for the St. Louis Blues, how are you not going to have a Shanahan there? Am I wrong? I mean, I'm not going to go to like the new age aspect with like a Tarasenko or like a Ryan O'Reilly that plays center because obviously you've got
Was it like Shanahan, Janney, and Hall
Pavel
at one
Demitra?
point?
Anyone
Pavel
remember
Demitra?
him?
Even Demitra, like
Demitra was phenomenal. I'm just saying, like,
I mean,
the
Pierre
years.
Turgeon, I'd even throw in the mix as someone who I'd have.
he was a center.
He was a center.
You can't put him
the
over
Kachuk
Oates.
days
over
too,
Oates.
right?
He was good.
Kachuk was great for us.
Kachuk
But
was good.
Once again, I mean, Kachuk and Shanahan to me were very similar styles, power forwards,
Yeah.
guys that were gritty, not scared to get in front of the net.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Shanahan,
You need that. You need that in a
Shanahan
productive
was good.
line, dude.
yeah, Shanahan was
Shanahan was
phenomenal. I
so
would say
good.
a whole Oates and Shanahan would be interesting.
you
and
imagine?
I would love to, love to just have a
Shanahan
flashback to that.
That would have been nice to have Shanahan, Oates, and Brett Hall. Oh my God, oh my.
Elaine suggests the Flyers since she's living in that area now. Elaine, we will absolutely do that for sure.
And I love the Flyers logo.
Yeah,
I
we
just
have
love it. It's
Nesselhoff's
old school.
throwing out the Cavallini brothers, and Joe Liker saying, he says, I love you guys. Got to hang out with the woman. Keep it going. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks
Joe.
for tuning in with us, man, for sure.
Cavallini, I'll never forget. I believe he was the one on the breakaway or the penalty shot of the breakaway that just ripped a slap shot like 10 feet wide of the net on a break.
Just bad.
Pretty sure that was Cavallini. Or one of them got their finger cut off too by a skate.
Yeah, that was Paul.
Was that Paul?
Oh, no, it was Gino. That was Gino Cavallini that got that.
Yeah.
Best current line for the St. Louis Blues says David Perron, Ryan O'Reilly, and Zach Sanford.
Man,
I mean,
Zach
current
Sanford's
line,
been
Zach
playing good.
Sanford
He's
is
bad.
good. He is a guy
He's
that I
He's
have,
finding
I
his
have
way.
high hopes for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to have him on there, but who do you guys think for your top line overall for St. Louis Blues? Let's not forget we had Gretzky.
Didn't we have
I mean,
Gretzky,
but we had him in the latter
Hall,
part of
and
his-
Shane Corson?
Shane
On the line
Corson,
one year?
Shane
Shane
Corson, good player
was a good
too.
player.
He was.
Shane Corson was good.
He was our captain at the
I was a
time.
big
I mean,
fan
I
of
think
Esa
that- I think
Tikkanen.
that-
We had him too.
He was bad
We had
too.
Glenn Anderson. We had a lot of
We had a bunch
Ranger.
of former Oiler, Ranger, Stanley
Yeah, we
Cup
got a lot
champs,
of cast-offs
from Fuhr
from
to
Mike-
everybody.
Mike Keenan kind of brought in whoever he wanted from his Rangers team.
Yeah.
Brian Noonan, Joe
Noonan.
Murphy. There's actually a really sad story
Just
on
watched
Joe
it.
Murphy.
Just
Dude, it's
watched it.
terrible.
Watch that documentary about
terrible,
Joe
man.
Murphy. It is super.
Sad to see where he's
It
at.
is, but man, like he had a great career.
Played
You
for a
forget
long
forget
time.
about
Yeah.
him. Like
Yeah.
that documentary sparked a lot of memories. It is sad to see where he's.
It is sad.
That's just another reason why these guys should be paid
Yep.
way more than what they get
Right.
There's
paid.
a lot to take in, and it's
Gosh damn, they
Trevor
get
Kidd.
beat.
I don't know if anybody, as a goalie,
Yeah.
he had one of the coolest masks in the league.
Hell
in
yeah.
the mid '90s. Trevor
Kidd's
Kidd did.
mask.
And Trevor Kidd is trying to
Help him out.
help him out,
Dude, it's a
Like,
great
get-
documentary. It's
he
only
actually
about
did
15,
rehab.
it's only 15 minutes long or
Yeah.
so, dude, and it's just
Yep.
man, it's
Trevor Kidd's
This
doing
guy-
like a rehab program for guys who are in trouble.
yeah,
or
Trevor
they
Kidd's
need-
helping.
Trevor
players
Kidd's
out
trying.
because
so-
the NHL. It turns out the NHL isn't really doing a lot for players. So
Unfortunately,
it takes a lot of these players to help each other out, and they're doing it, man. And
Luckily, there's so many good players in the league.
Yeah.
So
Oh
that
my
helps.
We got John Nesselhoff says his is Hull, Oates, and Gretzky.
I don't know if that overlaps,
mean,
but
Yeah,
I mean,
did that over those Hall
I don't know
notes,
why it
Gretzky?
wouldn't, but I mean, Brendan Shanahan. I mean,
yeah. I just think that
I think
from-
Hall, I think
from-
Oates might have been gone at that.
Yeah, he might have. Nick actually says Hull, Gretzky, and Maroon.
Don't you want that?
There's a local right
That's
there.
That's a
We love it. We love it. Well, hey, let's move on here. We
Maroon,
got
Chase,
Colorado.
and Reeves.
Yeah, right. Bruiser line.
How about that?
you love that.
That'd
I
be a
like
lot of
Colorado's mix. Let's talk about it, Kyle.
Carl requested the
Requested
Avalanche,
Kyle.
so we're gonna
Dude,
go over the
Colorado.
best line in Colorado here. We actually have, per ESPN, says that the best line they voted for was Alex Tanguay, Peter Forsberg, and Milan Hajduk. The Cult Classic goes to Ville Nieminen, Dan Heinote, and Chris Drury.
I guess you got to live in Colorado
Okay.
to get that one. I don't
And
understand.
the best current line, obviously, is Gabriel Landeskog, Nathan McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen.
Nathan
You-
McKinnon is
you
probably
can't
my
argue.
favorite player, non-Blues player. In
that
the
might
league.
be the best current line in the NHL.
Nathan McKinnon is awesome.
I mean, he's
Landeskog,
phenomenal.
McKinnon,
Yeah,
Rantanen.
I would
when
have to
all
say,
healthy.
He's so good.
I would have to say I would probably go with a in his prime, Milan Hajduk, Peter Forsberg, and then Nate McKinnon.
That's
As far as like a gritty line, you could
Yeah.
always take the Landeskog and you can take the Rantanens of the new age
Really
hockey.
hard to not have Joe Sakic.
Oh man,
How
I
do you
forgot about
not
Joe
have
Sakic.
Joe
smoothest,
Sakic.
quickest snapshot in the
One of
history
the one of the
game, man.
greatest guys, like
Silky
Mr.
smooth.
Hockey, kind of. Besides freaking Gordie Howe, man.
I
mean,
remember-
everybody was he was a well respected player.
Right. And Brett Hall, I remember there's a story where Brett Hall was like, I think Brendan Morrow or something like that was yelling at Sakic. And Hall grabbed him before he got back on the ice. He goes, "Don't ever say another word about Joe Sakic."
Mr. Sakic.
Yeah, Mr. Sakic. Don't
highly
say a word.
respected.
Don't forget who you're talking
I
about.
saw that. That was
Yeah.
actually a bruiser that was chirping at him a little bit.
Was it?
And
Who
he
was it
actually
on
said,
Dallas?
uh,
I thought it was Brendan Morrow.
oh man, I'd have to look back at it and see. A really good story though, because he said like everybody was
Yeah.
kind of quiet on the bench, and everybody goes, "You don't talk to
Don't
Ray about
say a
Mr.
word,
Sakic."
Joe Sakic.
Yeah.
Mr. Sakic.
Mr. Sakic.
Right.
And that's just that's the player he was. So respected
no,
by
good-
everybody.
good
Dominant.
call.
Do you remember those
Joe
good?
Sakic would be there.
That's
Peter
amazing
Forsberg.
that
I'm
he's not
thinking of
Long
these.
McKinnon?
I'm thinking of these mid '90s Avalanche. I'm thinking Adam Deadmarsh.
Oh man,
You know,
I haven't heard
man.
that name in a long time.
Yeah, I mean
Those guys that you would just get those kind of goals whenever.
Stefan
you,
Yell. They
Yeah.
just
Whenever
had
you
this
need 'em.
stacked
Yeah.
up team
They
on
always had
all
the-
the lines. All the lines could play.
They did
They had
have
some
some
good
interesting
players.
matchups.
Even like
yeah.
we talked about, the game-winning goal was Yui
Yui
Krupp. I mean,
Krupp.
just they were
Yui
deep.
Krupp.
They're every year. They're so
Sandis
deep.
Ozelinch. He was a good defenseman. I mean,
Ozzy, I remember
Up till this
getting
day,
cards
they
of
got
his.
Bork and Blake later on.
Bork,
you know?
Bork
Rob Blake
came to win
towards
that
the end.
cup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
Bork,
had some, God,
that's
they had
another
some great
awesome
teams.
documentary that's out there about the Bork just coming from Boston, so down.
Great
about the
story.
fact that he didn't win, come to Avalanche, and Sakic talks a lot about.
Yeah.
like this is a miracle.
I've got a
This guy's
photo
coming
with
here.
Bork and Wah holding the cup up together, which is pretty cool.
He didn't even raise it. Sakic didn't even raise it over his head. He walked
Nope,
straight
walked
to
it
Bork.
right over to
said,
Bork.
You raise it over your head first, and then
That's more reason to
that's-
love
whew,
Joe
that
Sakic.
made me misty.
He's so good.
Yeah, dude. So can you really put together a better line than so for I got to admit I completely forgot about Mr. Joe Sakic. Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, McKinnon. I mean, if you're taking the fact out of like you're not actually
God,
doing like these
Nathan
guys
McKinnon.
played center, these guys played predominantly right wing and left wing, I think you could throw that out there.
Milan
saying that that's
Hajduk was how good was Milan Hajduk for
in
a
his
long
prime.
time?
Yeah, in his prime he was fantastic.
Yeah, he was so good. Yeah,
So-
it's tough to not have McKinnon though. To
If-
me,
if
he's
it's a
one of the best.
fantasy line from the three best players in the history of these teams, like that, you can't not
Right.
Yeah, you
include
can't
I
do it.
agree.
those
I
three
agree.
players.
That's
So-
a good one. Colorado's a solid.
I
And then-
think that's pretty solid.
And also to another team maybe we can go to that we're going to hate, but I think to this day has one of the best current lines. And I think we're going to Boston.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do Philadelphia real quick.
Philadelphia.
We have a request
Philly.
here.
Okay.
Let's do
So
a Philadelphia
Elaine is living
request.
out in the Philadelphia region. She wanted us to go over that. ESPN has the best line going to be Michael Renberg, Eric
Yeah.
Lindros, and John Leclerc.
Pretty sick.
And I think that was their line, and that line was like, Leclerc.
It was Leclerc, Recchi.
Was it Recchi?
Recchi too.
Mark
Number
Recchi,
8.
Leclerc, and Lindros was
Daniel
basically
Briere.
like the Legion
Remember how
of Doom.
good he was too?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about Daniel Briere was good. in
Bad. They had a
Philadelphia.
good,
He was.
had a good,
Yep.
good season. 2010,
Scotty
2011.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Lindros, like I said already, one of my favorite players growing up. Fantastic talent, real power forward, kind of ahead of his time when he came into the league
was.
for a guy that could score and be the size that he was.
Yeah.
So I can't disagree with that. I would probably go back to the actual line though, the Leclerc, Recchi, and Lindros. Like those guys would hit you, they would play physical, and they
Score
would put
a
they would put it on you.
John Leclerc was so underrated. He was an all-star every year too. Like,
Yeah.
John Leclerc he just wasn't like a showman
Yeah,
type
that's
guy, but
exactly
John
right.
Leclerc was always there. Even in Montreal, he was a big part of how good they were.
Yeah. Where were you saying that those documentaries were at? You were watching on the
On Joe Murphy?
Yeah,
I
Joe
think
Murphy.
the Joe Murphy was on YouTube.
I just
and
watched them all on
is
YouTube.
it ESPN or something
So
like
it
that?
was a
did it.
TSN,
TSN,
a Canadian,
TSN or YouTube, John
sporting
Nesselhoff.
news.
That would be where you can locate those.
Yeah, just
Uh,
do YouTube Joe Murphy documentary. You'll find
it's
it.
tough. It's tough to watch.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah.
So-
Hopefully they get him in a better place.
Yeah.
They're working on things.
I'll have to check it out and see. You don't ever like to see anybody go
No.
down a path like that. So
No.
It's rough.
Cult classic for the Philadelphia Flyers. They have Ville Liano, Daniel Briere, and Scott Hartnell. We talked about, and then the best current line is Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, and Travis Konechny. That is a pretty badass.
That's pretty
line.
Konechny is coming to his own for sure recently. He is just killing it.
Couturier
Like
too.
they- and
They've
Couturier,
both gotten
too.
better. They've both gotten a lot better. Philadelphia was making a run there towards the end. I think they were actually in the playoff picture or
Yeah.
right on the bubble, one or the other. But Philadelphia's definitely picked up some steam. Over
They
the
have.
last-
They
at
were
the
looking
end.
like a hot bag of trash last year.
Yep.
With the whole coaching problems and like
Right.
the whole front end problems they were having. Is Hextall still running the show over there?
I don't know if it is
I don't
Hextall.
know. I don't
Look
know.
into that. I
They
think
always
Hextall
start
was.
another team that always starts off just like as a dumpster fire, but then picks it up towards the end of the season. You know,
And that
Yeah,
last-
they had-
time to pick it up.
They had some fun
pick it
games
up.
against Pittsburgh.
Maybe not
Yeah.
last year, but
Keith Primo.
those are always
Yeah.
Some of those nasty games in the early
I haven't heard
2000s.
that name in a long
Keith
time.
Primo was a nasty guy.
It's funny they say this line only played 138 minutes together, but they swapped also Konechny with Voracek. So
Oh,
another great
Jacob
player
Voracek.
who also
Voracek is good. A setup guy though. He's got silky
he's kind
smooth
of
hands.
yeah. You setting up Claude Giroux and Sean Couturier. I mean, you're just gonna
Yeah.
rake in the assists.
Carl says McKinnon was fun to watch on the regular whenever you live there. Yeah, he is.
I
Any
love
given
watching
night,
him.
Nathan McKinnon is a phenomenal,
smooth.
phenomenal.
I
person.
hate how
and
good he is.
McKinnon and McDavid are the
Yep.
most electric players to just watch. They're
yeah,
awe-inspiring.
you're right.
You can't turn
Kyle,
your head.
GM of the Flyers.
Ron
is,
Hextall.
Still is
Ronnie
Hextall.
Hextall.
Yeah. We got
Whipping into shape, Hextall.
Nick. You said you wanted to hear the Bruins.
Yeah, let's go to the Bruins just
Yeah.
because that is one of my also current best lines. Because
Okay.
you can't really argue that.
So go ahead and let me argue the best line that they have.
So
for
the
it
best
right now.
line could be argued, but we've got an old name you haven't heard of in a while, Joe Juno. Remember Joey Juno?
Good.
Adam Oates.
He was awesome. You got
Yeah.
Adam Oates, who was on another best line for another team
Yeah.
also, so he must have been a playmaker.
And then
And Dmitry
Varlamov.
Kvartlanov. Say that?
Varlamov.
How do they have that as
Var-
the best line?
Varlamov.
Out of all the players the Bruins have had,
I don't know how
Just,
you can do that.
it's got to
like I
be
said.
just as for this year because Oates had 142 points, Juno had 102 points, and Varlamov
Varlamov.
was a 26-year-old
Say
rookie.
Fartmanov?
Fartmanov?
Fartenkopf? Yeah, that's what it was.
no thought of
30 goals, 72 points. So I mean, like they had an amazing year, but the
I mean,
best line in the history of the Bruins.
Their cult classic is Daniel Paillet, Gregory Campbell, and Sean Thornton. That's a disgrace.
I don't even.
That's a disgrace as a cult classic.
Where's Cam Neely? Where
Right.
is
You don't even have
Sergei
Cam on here?
Samsonov?
We don't have
He
any
was
of
even
these
better
guys.
than these guys.
So I'm really sorry for
Patrice-
bringing this up.
Patrice
I
Bergeron?
should never brought the Bruins
So,
into the frame,
best-
but I'm just talking
best
about their
current
current
line.
line.
It's almost irritating.
Is exactly
that they put
what you're
these
talking
bad
about.
lines.
I know.
You've got Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak, and I think that probably should have been line for all of these categories.
They could have.
I would say it could be.
It's their best line. It's their cult classic, and it's their best current line.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I agree. I
And
don't
that's
think
the
you
only
go-
reason I
don't
want to
think you go
talk
away
about
from it.
Boston. Like Marchand, like we talked about Marchand earlier, just a pest. But when he's on your team,
There's a team that I want to go over,
That's
and,
dope.
and it's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh my God.
So you want to talk about the best overall line? They have it down as Ron Francis, great player by the way,
Awesome
Great.
player.
Mario
Great
Lemieux,
captain.
and Jaromir Jagr. I think you could easily put Sidney Crosby out there with Mario Lemieux and Jagr, and that would be hands
There's a lot
down
of-
be one of the best lines ever in the game.
There's a lot of Penguins that were really good.
So let me tell you this though: if Gretzky was going to take Ovechkin and McDavid, does that mean that Lemieux would be better off taking Jaromir Jagr and the latter of the two, Sidney
Probably.
Crosby? Would that be the matchup
Probably.
to see in
Yeah.
their primes?
Probably.
I
was
can't
a-
disagree with
I was a
it.
big Kevin Stevens fan. You remember Kevin Stevens?
Another
good players.
documentary.
He's a
Did
very
you see
good
that
player.
documentary?
No, I have not.
Another 15-minute documentary on YouTube you should definitely watch.
Kevin
Kevin
Stevens.
Stevens and what and his addiction problems and and what he went to and what he came back from. He's a scout again. Watch that documentary. Kevin Stevens on YouTube. A sad story, turned good.
Yeah, Mike Estrada brings out a really good point here. He goes, if we're going to be talking about great Bruins players, we cannot forget the fact that Marchand licked over 53 players last
He's
year.
a licker, and it's caught on
Thank
camera.
you, Mike, for
He's
putting that
an
out there. I
official
appreciate
licker.
that. No, yeah, that was really weird. I think you need to stop doing that shit. That was
Dude,
just,
that's
it was
just another mind,
strange.
just a mind f, just
Yeah.
another mind f, another level of mind f.
What if he was doing that in the middle of COVID? You know,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
I think that's
Marchand's out here
mainly the
licking guys.
mainly the reason why they shut the league down. They knew he was going to start licking, and they're like, we can't have this.
right?
There's one good thing to hear about Buffalo. It's their best line. Dave Andrechuk, Pat LaFontaine, and Alexander Mogilny.
Dude,
Yeah,
That's
Mogilny,
the
LaFontaine.
defector.
Those are
Dave
some.
Andrechuk.
Those are some classic
Whoa.
names. See if he wants to go out there, would you?
It's a shout out from Buster. If you didn't hear that,
Yeah, shout out from Buster. If you guys
just
didn't
talk
know.
a little bit. No big deal.
Just leave it open. He'll be fine.
While we're on Buffalo,
He
can we
doesn't know what he
can we talk about their cult classic too? Because we brought that up.
Let's hear the
earlier.
Cole classic.
It's the best cult classic I've seen so far.
Throw it out
because
there.
It is just hammers. You got Brad May, Rob Ray, Matthew Barnaby,
That's a line of hate right
my
there.
God.
That's just hate.
just
That's-
hammered.
That's
hammered.
ridiculous. Carl wants to say that Avs and Bruins best two lines in hockey right now. You can argue that 100%.
That
That
first line.
Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog, and then you have
Pasternak.
I would say Carl's
Marchand,
probably right there. Maybe
Bergeron.
the two best lines in the NHL.
Then
right
that's
now.
the only
Yeah.
reason I brought them
Draisaitl,
up.
McDavid, and
then question mark.
And then
question mark.
It doesn't matter. Pat
It-
Maroon, Zach
it could
Cassian,
be-
put whoever you want. They produce.
It could be somebody to make that line cast.
But it could
Yeah.
be. I think they had James Neal on there for the power play at least, and he had like 20 goals in the first 24 games or something crazy,
Yeah.
like a resurgence just because you put him on the power play with McDavid and Draisaitl.
Draisaitl's been-
You're not gonna not produce.
Right.
Double negative.
I mean, you could put anybody there, and they're gonna take care of business.
Right.
So we got Jimmy Tracy says, Mr. Docs, aka Nick Heath. Hello, gotta watch them all with your documentaries. I'm gonna call you Mr. Docs.
Documentary
Hey,
fan. You know, I really like getting into
they're a lot of
people's
fun.
lives. People out there have incredibly interesting lives, and thank you. I'll go. I'll
Here's-
accept that, Mr. Doc.
This is one I can agree with. We're gonna go to the Ottawa Senators real quick. Okay.
Yep.
The Ottawa Senators' best line overall: Danny Heatley, Jason Spezza, and Daniel
Alfredson.
Alfredson.
Daniel Alfredson.
Could
is
not
one of
agree
my
with that
favorites.
anymore.
Yeah.
I definitely
Could not
with
agree
that.
with that anymore.
That's
Like 100%.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, these are, and then these best lines. I mean, we come up with our fantasy best lines of all the three players we like to see, but these are actual lines that happened together at some point in these teams' histories, right?
Right.
So I mean, that Heatley,
Right.
Spezza, and Alfredson on the same line. When you're in Ottawa,
I'm still thinking my
2007, they made it to the finals.
my Canucks, those late '90s Canucks, where it was
Ooh.
Mark Messier, Pavel Bure, and Trevor Linden.
Let's have a look at that.
That's a solid.
It's
I'm
more
curious
crazy
who they have in Vancouver.
So we've got Vancouver coming up here. Oh wow. The best line for Vancouver is going to go to Alex Burrows, Henrik Sedin, and Daniel Sedin.
You're going to be quite.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree.
and I'm going to
100%.
disagree with that strongly. If you
kidding me?
if you
If
have
you
a
didn't- If you didn't hear the
I
line
just-
he just said,
I just ripped you who those guys: Bure, Messier, Trevor Linden.
none of those
100%.
compared to any of these players.
Now, Cole Classic is going to be Anson Carter, Henrik Sedin, and Daniel Sedin. How are you going to have the Sedins on a Cult Classic line?
I would
with Anson
suggest
Carter?
that ESPN gets some type of new person, at least giving an idea or giving a rat's ass about
You
hockey.
have to remember this is an ESPN article.
That's what's so
Right.
so
This is what all this
frustrating.
is coming back to.
Right.
ESPN
Jimmy,
used to be so much fun.
Yeah.
He did, man.
Jimmy Tracy throws out Danny Heatley was a beast. Yes, he was.
was.
It's sad that he was in that
So
car
good.
accident that kind of changed his whole
Sad.
career.
Yeah.
So good.
Also, Mike Travis says nothing was better than watching the Blues basically shut down the perfection line. Yeah, that's the new
They
thing
really
now
did.
is showing that it can be one thing to have the best line in hockey, but it can also be the other thing to have the best defense in hockey or the best goaltender
Defense
in
wins
hockey.
championships.
And that's how Bennington played
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we wanted it more than they did, and that's what it was about. It was necessarily those guys in certain points when they got their chances, they scored goals, but then we
did.
were really quick to bottle it up and shut them down.
Man, it was so good to see them.
Being able
so
to-
sad at the end
Being
of that.
able
though.
to bounce back
Marchand
from
was
bad
crying.
goals, bad moments, that's
Yeah.
the big thing. That
Which
Every,
also-
every loss, we bounced back with a
Yep.
huge win.
Reminder as well, Mike Rozeski, who's still tuning in with us, we will actually be talking about some of these awesome blues memories on Gru's Blues Reviews coming up. We'll get you the dates on that. We'll post it in the group. You'll have me, Nick, and Mark ideally sitting around with Mike, and we will be talking some Blues playoff and Stanley Cup run.
What could be better?
What could be? I could relive that moment for the rest of my life.
yeah,
100%.
they'll never get old.
Never.
So
Cry every time.
we also have Mike Rozeski says the Sedin twins. He goes, Sedin. I hear you, man.
I loved the meme I saw when they lost, and it said 2 girls, no cup.
Oh my
There's just a
gosh.
picture of them crying after
The
the
Sedin
game.
The
twins.
Shining Sisters, and it's their face on.
Right.
You know, we can't deny the fact that, well, obviously they shaped Vancouver hockey
They really,
according
they
to
were damn
ESPN,
good.
but
I got to do one more team real quick before we
do it.
because there's
Yeah.
you can't have a team that has this much ritual and then not include them in here. So we're gonna do the Detroit Red Wings.
perfect.
We have to.
So much,
we
much
grew
class.
up.
As
We
much
grew
as
up
you hate
watching
'em.
them, and
They
As
were
much
so
as you
good.
hate them.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Elaine,
let's
Elaine
do it.
is chiming in and says Game 7 of the Stanley Cup was one of the most beautiful games of hockey I've ever watched. 100%. Adam often an early lead. I didn't have to have a heart palpitation throughout that. So yes, I can't agree with you more on that.
It's funny how I was calm for that game. I was like, we're gonna win this, kind of.
I think
At the beginning, even going to Boston, even after losing at home game 6,
I think the
I'm
third goal.
nothing here. Even before the game,
I
was
knew
like,
it was
You
over.
This is
just
us-
you
this is
felt it
us,
in.
dude.
They put the
I
knife
felt
in
it.
deep.
Yeah,
and turned
And
it.
that third goal
They did it.
The third goal, they just turned
They
it.
turned the
goal.
knife finally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're gonna win the Stanley Cup finally. We're gonna do
They
it.
did it.
Let me ask you this:
did.
so, Detroit, we're still on the topic here of the top lines in NHL for teams in history. We're going to the Detroit Red Wings. Best line overall. Who you going to throw up there?
Fedorov,
Of course,
No doubt.
Eiserman,
Yzerman
Sure.
probably Shanahan.
and Shanahan. Eh? That's not a bad 3.
How?
I like that.
I mean,
I would say that you have Pavel Datsuk.
yeah.
Datsuk,
Zetterberg.
You have
Forgot about
Zetterberg,
Zetterberg.
and I would probably put Fedorov up there as
Fedorov,
well
yeah.
too.
You can't-
Yzerman, great player, great captain, but I couldn't
Yeah.
put him up there with that. They actually have for ESPN Slava Kozlov, Igor Larionov, and Sergei Fedorov.
And who remembers just the Russians?
Russian.
Konstantinov,
Another-
Larionov,
Konstantin-
Another tragic
Kozlov, Fedorov.
car accident.
Yeah,
with
another
the death, and also-
documentary that I also is very good.
John, there you
gotta
go.
watch
Another
that.
documentary from Mr. Docs.
I'll
Jimmy,
tell you that-
nice
Jimmy.
name on that.
That
You're
cult
right.
classic line they have, that was one of the most like ferocious, tenacious
Colt
lines.
Maltby, Chris Draper, and Darren McCarty.
That was a
McCarty.
tough line
That
to
was a
play
tough
in the
line.
playoffs. They worked teams over.
McCarty was
that
like
line.
for
always
sure.
seemed like he was like a boxer they trained to skate.
That was the epitome of grit
Yeah.
on that line.
That was
They wore you down.
The grind
they did.
line.
It was grind.
That's what they were called.
That's what they
their
were.
best current line that they have is actually Anthony Mantha, Dylan Larkin, and Tyler Bertuzzi.
Bunch of
Hands
young
down.
kids can't disagree
mean-
with that because that's about all they got.
What
Hands
about
down.
Robbie Fabry? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
He
you
had a
know
good.
what?
He had a good
Fabs,
3 games
He
when he
had
got
a
traded
good
there.
start.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
I hope my hope for Fabry is I hope he just can get a fresh start somewhere, and I hope he can be good for someone. He always had talent. He always
Talent's
wanted to
there.
be good. He just his knee blew out, and then his other knee blew out, and I think it was the other knee. It might have been the same knee twice, and it's just unfortunate for a guy like him, And he scored. Let's not forget he scored that goal off Bishop. That like wrister that I think Bishop thought was going up top, and
Yeah.
then went between his 5-hole. Like
Right.
you're just like, oh, this is a great start of the game, right?
Yeah.
He contributed to that.
Yeah,
he
he
was a
did.
part of that. So
Yep.
you have Mike Katraba that says, I still have nightmares about Yzerman from 96. Mike, me too, buddy. There's not enough therapy
talked
in
about
the
that many
world that could
times.
actually get me to forget about that. I think I was kicking and screaming with my feet up on the wall in the hallway, my parents' house, crying, saying like, when will it ever work for us or something like that. Along
Poor
those
John
lines.
Casey still
Or
pays.
I'm still
forward
gonna
to that
never.
day, I think,
and as a
to this
goalie,
day.
I'm gonna defend John Casey till the end
Played good.
because he didn't play all year.
No doubt.
He got thrown in. We
He
got
did.
past the first round.
A lot of factors there.
Double overtime. We were outshot 41-19, and he gave up a goal.
Fun fact, who took out Grant Fuhr's knee?
Nick Kyprios.
Nick Kyprios.
Even though Kyprios blames Chris Pronger, which
for pushing him into it, which
if you
it
ask
didn't
Grant
happen.
Fuhr, it was a hockey play, but he knew what he was
Professional.
doing.
Polished, yeah.
That's because
He knew what
Grant
he was
Fuhr is a
doing.
professional.
Yeah, Grant Fuhr actually tried to wrap his knee and play.
He did.
I believe he played 79 out of 82 games that year. Is that not insane?
That's crazy.
That'll never get touched.
They don't.
79.
That's a record. It's
Then
got to
he
be
had,
a record.
Then he had surgery on his knee and played 73 out of 82 the next year at 35 years old.
Yeah.
Grant Fuhr.
One of
And
the
Mike
best.
Katraba is a Grant Fuhr guy, and he's going to love this throw out for Grant Fuhr. There's a lot of love for Grant Fuhr.
I will tell you this right now,
Legend.
and I, if Grant Fuhr would not have gotten hurt, I think that would have been our chance.
He tells you that if you got to see that documentary, he's like, man, we had the team in St. Louis. For that to happen, it really hurt, you know,
Yeah.
for us. And we knew where the city was,
Yeah.
with where their thought was. This could be it. This could be the year.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, it really, It sucked.
No, it did. It did. It really took the wind out of our sails, and
Yeah.
well, I mean, it was Game 7, so legitimately just ended our season, and it
Took
was
us about
literally
24 years to.
Steve Eiserman
I
said
still
literally
see the
he just
shot.
was
I
trying.
see Mary Barron standing in front of, and I'm not going to put it all on John Casey.
He might have been screened a little.
He might have been screening as a smaller goalie.
You don't expect that shot.
Let's
to come.
not say as a smaller goalie. Let's talk
mean, he
about
was a
as
little
one
guy.
of the smallest goalies.
Yeah.
Like I want to see like literally average heights for
When
goaltenders
you
in
can
the
go-
NHL, and then I want to see where John Casey stands. But I guarantee you, he's in the lower percentile.
He went.
Yeah.
Eiserman went bar
Or
down
lowest
on a guy
percentile.
standing straight up.
They said he was
So,
trying to dump it in.
He went bar down on a guy standing straight up. He's got to be small.
People still bring up Gretzky losing the puck at center ice.
Yeah,
That's
off the
what led
skate,
to it.
Turnover.
off the skate. I mean, well, and that's
If
the
we're
thing,
all going to
though.
look for a moment to pick,
A lot of
We can
factors
do it.
led
We
up to
could.
this
we can
moment.
do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and then those moments, especially. I mean, yeah, you could find things and say, "Hey,
Sure.
it was Gretzky's fault." It was, you know, if
John
Fuhrer
Casey
wouldn't-
should have stopped that.
I mean, it could have been so many different things.
Yeah.
So
Jeopardy's easy when you're at home.
right.
right.
When you're on the show,
So-
it's not as easy.
Well, hey, I mean that's the list. I don't have any other teams. Nobody's really saying any other teams that we have in the chat there. So I think that's a good show there, guys. I don't know about
Solid.
you.
Yeah.
Guys,
Very
thank
good.
you. Thank you again for tuning in. We will be going again Thursday at 7:30 as always. If you do have anything that you want us to talk about, and instead of just kind of tuning in the comment section, shoot me a message on Facebook. We do appreciate everybody watching every view, even if it's for a second, like we say. And we look forward to putting together some more content for you guys to check out. So
Love you guys. One last personal shout out from me to Curtis Bromeyer and the whole Mudcats crew. representing
what?
representing Mudcats baseball circa 1994 or so. So
Jimmy Tracy says Kings.
he wants
Wow.
the Kings. He wants the last minute Kings
He
shout
wants
out.
Kings.
I could
Well-
probably do that off the just the win. Well, you got to have Gretzky.
Well, that's the funny thing is when we were looking at Detroit, Edmonton's the next team in line.
They don't have Gretzky.
There's no Gretzky. No
Luke
Gretzky.
Robitaille, I would imagine, has to be on that list.
Let's go to Kings for you, Jimmy.
I would say so. Here, I'm gonna
Well-
Can I put my list together real quick?
Do it.
So we both know. I believe Yari Curry played there as well.
Yari Curry.
Okay.
Forgotten
so
guy.
You're gonna have to have
Forgot about Yari
Luke
Curry.
Robitaille, Yari Curry, Wayne Gretzky.
That's it.
You can't go anybody else.
I don't
in
think
that
you can
team,
argue.
I don't think.
you can argue that.
Let's
Let's hear what
see
they really have.
ESPN thinks, because obviously we haven't been.
We're not on the same
agreeing
page
with
with
these.
ESPN, but
For some reason.
Oh boy.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, so the best line for the Los Angeles
In the
Kings
history of the
in
Kings.
the history of the Kings is Tony Granato, Wayne Gretzky, and Tomas Sandstrom.
Seriously, they just Googled like Kings lines and this popped
Yeah.
up. They're like, this is the best. Gretzky's in the middle.
The cult classic is the Tanner Pearson, Jeff Carter, and Tyler Toffoli.
That was a tough line.
That was
That
a tough
70s line.
Very-
That
that's a
was.
very
when they won
tough
those
line.
cups, right? They
Yeah.
were.
And they're
Intro.
saying, and
What
then
about
now their
Kopitar and Dustin
best
Brown.
current line is
Current line.
Alex Iafallo, Anzi Kopitar, and Dustin Brown.
I'm a big fan of Kopitar. Always
I am
have
too.
And Dustin Brown was a badass
Always
too.
liked Dustin Brown was such a pain in the
So
ass
much
in the
heart on that
playoffs.
dude. Pain in the ass. Another pest, but
Yep.
he did produce at one point in his
Yep.
career.
All right, we got Greg Shadigan's chiming in, says Lucky Luke.
Lukey Robes. Robitaille.
Robitaille.
So good.
Another guy who left to go to another team to win a cup because he had a huge career, right? He left
Yeah.
LA and finally won a cup in Detroit.
Yeah, that's true.
And Ray Bork leaving spending 21
Boston.
years on one team going to finish your
Avalanche.
career
Get
with
your
a
shot
cup,
to
like,
win. Get
you
your
know,
shot to win.
so those
You have to.
two legends
It's a
got their
business.
shot and they took it.
I
and
think
they both
that's
won
what Joe
cups.
Thornton was kind of hoping, that someone would give him a shot.
And the
to
Sharks
kinda
wouldn't let
win.
him go. Like, sorry, buddy, you got to suffer here with Eric Carlson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Poor Eric Carlson.
Yeah.
Another guy that's contract though you don't want.
Nope.
So
Good luck, San Jose.
anybody else has any other teams that they want us to shout out, let us know. If not, I think that like is pretty much it.
Yeah.
We will it's tough right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really enjoy talking sports and whatnot, but with there being no sports actually going on, there's not a whole lot. So if you guys do have, like I said, anything that you would like us to talk about, send over a message. Let us know, and we will, do some homework and put together something for the show. And we, as always, always love when you guys do get interactive with us and ask questions and do that. So thank you again, and I guess you will see you Thursday night.
Take care of
See you
yourselves.
Thursday.
Take care of each other.
Stay
you
classy,
Thursday.
San Diego.
Love you guys.